Commanders hire Dan Quinn to match with their new general manager, Adam Peters, to lead this franchise into the future.
The way that we live is not for everybody, okay? It's not, all right? Because we're going to run and put our bodies on people in a violent manner.
Whether the team is giving us the highest of highs or the bluest of blues, we'll cover it all here. Commanders Nightly News. I, of course, am your host, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Let's get to tonight's lead story. So, before we start, I am a man of my word. Big shout out to my guy, David Brown, for holding up his end of the bet. We made a bet earlier this season that he would go on the DR trip in exchange for me taking a shot for every Commanders loss this season. I told him at that time that the fellas aren't going to allow me to get, pissy drunk on the stream and have to take 10, 11 shots. They're not going to do that to me. They value me. I've been here for a long time. I've been through a lot. So I knew it was going to be like 6 losses or so, somewhere in there. 5, awesome. So he held up his end of the bargain. He's coming on the trip. I'm going to hold up my end of the bargain, which is I have to take a shot of Grand Marnier. 5 of them, 1 for each loss. I bought this bottle especially for you. So I'm going to pop the seal on it. And as we go through each segment, I'm going to take a shot. That way I can manage the shots, know when I'm taking them, and get them out the way. All right? So we're going to start the show off with our first shot. First of 5. And then we're going to get into our lead story of the night. We're really going to dive into the Bucs. Cheers, everybody, to a hell of a season and the start of a new season. Cheers. One down. Whew. 4 to go. Whew. So I want to talk about Sunday night X factors. This Bucs team, as I've done my homework, and I've watched them all season, and they've been up and down, and they've had injuries, and you didn't really know what Bucs team was going to show up offensively, defensively. But one thing's been consistent with this team. They've competed their balls off. Baker Mayfield has been spectacular this year. We'll talk more about that. But I'm going to tell you this right now. There are so many things we've talked about ad nauseum. I've talked about Baker Mayfield. I've talked about the passing statistics and how gaudy they've been this season. And I've talked about, us having to stop the run. Everyone's talking about Marshawn Lattimore versus Mike Evans. These are the obvious things. I'm not going to belabor those points. I'll let other people continue to talk about those things. And yes, I'm going to bring those things up as well. But there are other things that I think will impact this game. There are other factors that I think are going to impact this game. So, with that said, I want to start with my first X factor of Sunday night. The run game. Both sides. There's been a lot made of Washington's run game or lack thereof, specifically with the running backs. And I really think that the running backs, not necessarily the run game, I think the running backs are going to have a massive impact in this game. Think back to week 1. Now, obviously, different team, different set of circumstances. All of this is true. But I think the one constant when you're talking Tampa Bay Buccaneers is you're not going to be able to run the football effectively against them. Not consistently, at least. You may catch them, lacking on a snap here or there, but for the most part, you're not going to be able to run the ball effectively against them. So with that said, you're going to need other guys to step up in the absence of a consistent run game by the backs. And I'm talking about these running backs stepping up. Brian Robinson Jr. had a really good game the first time we played the Buccaneers. Now, he didn't have a ton of rush yards, but he caught it out of the backfield very well. Remember the play up the right sideline? He caught the ball. He made a Bucs defender miss. He got to like the 1 yard line, got hit, kind of looked a little awkward, almost like maybe he got concussed or something. It was kind of weird because he should have scored. He scored a touchdown on the next play. He was a big receiving threat in that first game. Now, a lot of the offense has changed since then, obviously. And Eckler was a really big part, if you recall, that first game of the passing game. I think the running backs are going to have to be a big part of this attack. Even if they're not running it, they're going to have to catch it and get yards after the catch underneath. The Bucs are one of these teams that they're aggressive in nature, but a lot of times when they're not aggressive, they're giving you space underneath to work with. We're going to have to take advantage of that space, and we're going to have to utilize it and make things happen with that space. Create yards after the catch, yards after contact, make guys miss out in space. I think these are all going to be big things that they have to do. The Bucs run game, we'll talk more about it a little bit later on in the show. I'll save that for a little bit later on in the show. I want to kind of really more so focus on us right now. Another X factor in the game for me. Again, a lot of this is based off of watching the first game again, and then also kind of taking into consideration what the Bucs do well, what we do well, and how we can offset some of the things they do well, and how we can accentuate some of the things that we do well, right? So one of the things the Bucs do extremely well is the screen game. They're a dynamic screen team. And Joe Whitt Jr. talked about they've got over 1,000 yards this season at the line of scrimmage, getting up the field. I mean, that's an insane number. Right? Baker Mayfield has 4,500 yards passing. Over 1,000 of them, so let's just call it 1,000 of them, came from him just getting it out of his hands, hitch, wide receiver screen, running back screen of some sort, dumping it off at or behind the line of scrimmage, and his players making guys miss, making things happen, blockers getting out in front, creating space, and those guys making plays. Think back to week 1. What's one of the things that hurt us the most in that game, if you can recall? I'll give you a second. They killed us in the screen game, if you remember, in that first week. There was a 3rd and 18 late in the game when we needed a stop. We were down big. If we had any shot of coming back, needed to get a stop. And we started out the possession with 2 straight Bobby Wagner tackles for loss. Then they threw a wide receiver screen on 3rd and 18, and it popped for 27. And at that point, the dam broke. It was over. We knew it was over at that point. But they hurt us all game long with screen passes. All game long. We could not get to the Bucs and slow down their screen game at all. It had us thinking, uh-oh, we could be in trouble this season. We can't stop screens. And you know, if you can't stop a screen one week, guess what you're going to see the next week? Because it's a copycat league. So one of the X factors for me in this game is we've got to slow down the short, quick screen game of the Bucs. That underneath stuff that they like to throw. Look, Baker's at 71.4% completion percentage for a reason. All right. I'm not telling you that everything Baker does is dink and dunk. You don't dink and dunk your way to 4,500 yards. However, there's a lot of yards in there and a lot of completions that help bolster that completion percentage that are quick, underneath, screens, things of that nature that they take advantage of. We have to neutralize their screen game. We have to tackle in this game. We have to arrive fast and physically and violently. And we got to roll with a deep crew, and we got to show up with numbers. It's strength in numbers. Can't be just one guy, because Bucky Irvin will make somebody miss. Jalen McMillan will make somebody miss. So we got to show up with numbers. So if he makes that first guy miss, here's somebody else to clean his ass up. Next X factor in this game. In the first game, it's well documented. We had ample opportunities to get Baker Mayfield on the ground. And we didn't do so, obviously. It is imperative that when those opportunities present themselves, I think we can get pressure in this game. I may be, just being optimistic. This may be me, glass half full, burgundy and gold colored glasses, call it what you want. I think we can get pressure on Baker. I think Dante Fowler Jr. and Dorrance Armstrong, and the defensive tackles, I think there's a chance that we can get pressure on Baker. And the key is going to be, can we get him on the ground? We're a more cohesive unit than we were in week one. We weren't ready for the elements. We were a tired, gassed defense towards the end of that ball game. First time that those guys had played in a full game, and they weren't prepared for that Tampa Heat, coupled with the fact that they hadn't played more than a quarter, any of them. So it's going to look different. But the question is, can we get Baker Mayfield on the ground? When those opportunities present themselves, can we get Baker Mayfield on the ground? Because I think we're going to have some shots. Another X factor, and I'll be brief on this one because I already said I wasn't going to talk a ton about it, but all signs point to Marshawn Lattimore playing in this game. I have no doubts. Barring any kind of setback, Marshawn Lattimore will be out there. The hope is not only is he out there, but he's out there for the entire game. And as we've seen already, Joe Whitt Jr. is not afraid to match him up against the other team's best wide receiver. Well, the Bucs' best wide receiver is Mike Evans. We already know there's a long history there. And so he killed us the first game along with Chris Godwin. Godwin is not going to be playing, obviously. He's out for the season. So that could theoretically change how we defend Tampa Bay. Look, he didn't protect Benjamin St-Juste in that first game. Remember, he turned Benjamin St-Juste loose, and Mike Evans cooked him. Juice was in great coverage the entire day, and he just couldn't locate the football. Great passes by Baker, too. Got to give credit where credit is due. I like the matchup. That's going to help us defensively as well. Another key in this game is, can we win on third downs on both sides. And if you ask me, and I'm going to talk a lot more about this later on in the show, but if you ask me, what is the biggest factor in us winning or losing this game potentially, outside of course, turnovers, which can alter the course of any contest. Doesn't matter who you're playing, when you're playing them. You turn it over, you really minimize the chances of you winning a football game. I still don't know how we beat the Eagles with 5 turnovers. You don't win very many games in the league doing that shit. So taking care of the football is going to be paramount. But after you get past that, third downs are going to be massive in this game. The Bucs are the best in the business in third downs conversion rate. We're not too shabby ourselves. The key to this game may be ultimately whose offense can keep the others off the field. What team's offense can keep the other team's defense? Neither of these teams' defenses are very good. Who are we kidding? Tampa's defense isn't very good. Our defense isn't all that great. And maybe I need to give a little bit more credit to Tampa's defense. Maybe I'm selling them a bit short. Maybe I'm guilty of that. I've watched this Buccaneers defense shut down some teams like the Chargers. I knew the Chargers had opportunities in that game that they did not take advantage of. But I watched them destroy the Chargers over in LA. Put a 40 spot on their head. Beat them up like 41-17. Maybe I'm not giving their defense enough credit. But I think we can move the ball and move it effectively on their defense. The question is, can we stop their offense from doing the same? It may come down to what team wins time of possession, what team controls the football, what team keeps their defense off the field. Third downs are going to go a long way in determining who is on and off the field in this football game. Part of third down defense is, what does the third down look like? Is it 3rd and 1, 2, 3? Is it 3rd and medium, 4, 5, 6? Is it 3rd and long, 7, 8, 9 or plus? That means you got to win on 1st and 2nd down. Again, we'll talk about the Bucs run game. We'll talk about our run defense. All of those things are going to factor in the 1st and 2nd down defense. The Bucs like to throw it on early downs. Hence, Baker Mayfield's 71% completion percentage. They're not afraid to throw the football on early downs. And it's a quick out. It's easy, quick, 3-step drop, ball out. One of the things that drives me nuts sometimes with our team is we'll give up the easy underneath stuff. We'll give up the free lunch. Like, no, it's no free food, man. Come up and take that away. But which one would you rather give up? The 5-yard speed cut or the 55-yard go ball? Your choice. It's an easy decision to make. But this is an offense that will take full advantage. If you're playing 8 yards off and you're already in your back pedal as soon as the ball snap, they'll take advantage of a 5-yard outcut and make it 2nd and 5. No issues, no problems whatsoever. We got to be more aggressive, challenging these receivers and making them earn everything that they get. Let's move on to in other news. We heard from both the offensive coordinator, Kliff Kingsbury, defensive coordinator, Joe Whitt Jr. We have the injury report for both teams from Thursday, so we'll get to that as well. Gonna plug the watch party, and then we're gonna get to behind enemy lines. But before we do any of that, second shot time. All right. Cheers to a playoff game in year one of the recalibration. I'm not going to sit here in front and act like I was expecting this, because I wasn't. Didn't know that this team would gel as quickly as they ended up doing, but more importantly, didn't know what we had on our hands with Jayden Daniels. He's the real X factor when it's all said and done. He's the guy that can change this game all by his lonesome. And so, cheers to having 5. Cheers to having a playoff game and a chance to advance in the postseason for the first time since 2005. Cheers. All right, that's 2. 2 down, 3 to go. So let's take a look at the injury report for both teams before we get to what was said by both coordinators. So we start with the good guys, obviously. And again, a very non-threatening injury report. Again, both teams are relatively healthy heading into this postseason tilt. I wouldn't have it any other way, right? Sans for a couple of receivers that are out for the season. Noah Brown on our side, Chris Godwin on their side. This is 2 teams relatively healthy coming into this playoff game. Ertz rested on Wednesday. Cleveland Farrell rested on Wednesday. Dante Fowler Jr. and Terry McLaurin all rested on Wednesday. They were all full participants not listed on the injury report on Thursday. Tyler Biadasz continues to be limited, but I watched a JP Finley media scrum session that he likes to put together every week. And Biadasz says he's good to go. He's playing. He's like, I was close last week. I'm going this week. So there was never really any doubt that he was going to play, but it's always good to hear it from the player's mouth, right? Jeremy Chin, limited with ribs on Wednesday, full participant. Brandon Coleman, limited with that knee injury he sustained against Dallas on Sunday, full participant on Thursday. So those are really good signs, especially Brandon Coleman. Crowder with the groin was a kind of a new one that popped up on Wednesday. Kind of caught me a little bit by surprise. Was limited on Wednesday, continues to be limited, but if I had to guess, he'll be perfectly fine come Sunday. Cornelius Lucas, limited. The good thing is Cole Luke is going to be break in case of an emergency. We won't need him to start the game. We'll have a full complement of offensive linemen, more likely than not, with Coleman on one side, Wiley on the other side, and then your 3 interior guys. So it's good to have Cole Luke back in the mix in the event that something happens to one of the starting tackles. But he was limited once again on Thursday. John Bates, shoulder, full on Wednesday, limited on Thursday. I think that's more of a precautionary thing, right? Don't want to push him too hard. Jayden Daniels, quad, full Wednesday, full Thursday. There's nothing to see here. Marshawn Lattimore, hamstring, full on Wednesday, full on Thursday. That's a great sign that he's been full both days. Frankie Louvu, shoulder, full on Wednesday, limited on Thursday. Again, he should be fine. Heard him talk in that same JP Finley media scrum. Sounds like he's going to be absolutely fine. So I'm not really tripping about anything with Frankie Louvu. Jordan McGee, this is a big one because I thought he was coming on like gangbusters prior to his injury in that Week 16 tilt versus Philadelphia. He was starting to play phenomenal football. He was attacking the line of scrimmage against New Orleans. He was attacking the line of scrimmage against Philadelphia, and then he got hurt. And I think he's one of those guys that allows your run defense to improve. So him being back is going to be massive, and he's a core special teamer as well. So a lot of benefits to having Jordan McGee back. So it's good to see him back with the hamstring injury. Full participant Wednesday and on Thursday. Quan Martin obviously dealt with the illness on Sunday against Dallas, was out. Full participant Wednesday. He's no longer listed on the injury report. So nothing to see there with Quan. And then Colson Yankoff. Again, I talked about this yesterday. They opened up his 21-day window on Wednesday. I'm not sure if he's going to participate in this playoff game or not, but full on Wednesday, full on Thursday. We'll see how it continues to trend and if they decide to activate him or not. So that's the Commanders injury report. Now let's go to the ops. And like I told you yesterday, there's really nothing to see here. All right. A bunch of fulls, a bunch of limiteds, one DMP, and that's Mike Evans. And it's listed as rest. He's fine. Right. Same thing we did for Terry on Wednesday. They're doing it for Mike Evans on Thursday. Everybody else practiced in some way, shape, or form. Okay. There is absolutely nothing. And I repeat, nothing to see here. Okay. Everybody's playing. It's the playoffs. If you can go, it's all hands on deck. If you got a little something, you suck it up. You know, you do what you got to do. It's the playoffs. This ain't week 4. It ain't week 7 or week 9 or week 14. It's the playoffs. If you can go, you go. Everybody here is going to go. So really nothing to see here, as I've talked about with Tampa Bay. So let's talk about what was said by our two coordinators. We'll start with Kliff Kingsbury. He started off his press conference by talking about Vita Vea and the impact that he can have on a game and how, disruptive he can be. He's very similar to Jalen Carter in how disruptive he can be. Carter's a little, way more athletic, but for Vita Vea's size, his athleticism is off the charts. But Carter is, a quick one gap penetrator. Vita Vea can do that, but he's more of a, two gap, blow up a play, space eater, can't get around him, behemoth, collapse the pocket, that kind of guy. Jalen Carter relies more so on athleticism, but both of them are equally as destructive. And if you're not careful, they'll wreck the game plan. And so Kliff's aware of what Vita Vea brings to the table. A lot of Kliff's press conference was centered around Jayden and the first matchup as well. So let's just get the elephant out of the room. We talked about this yesterday. I've talked about it on previous shows as well. I saw some of your comments after I posted the video yesterday. I don't give a shit about Kliff leaving. I'm worried about beating the Bucs. So am I. But you can do two things at once. You can be largely focused on the Buccaneers, and you can talk about the prospects of Kliff being a hot commodity. Doesn't take away from the fact that we are focused on Tampa Bay and beating them, but that exists. And so, of course, the media asked Kliff about, hey, got some interviews lined up. Teams contacted you. How's that going? And he's like, yeah, I'm really not trying to get into all of that. I'm really just focused on Tampa Bay, which is supposed to be his answer. Let us talk about that shit. Let the media talk about that shit. Everybody in that building should have singular focus on the Bucs. That's the way it should be. And that's where those guys are right now. So he swatted that away twice. They asked him at the beginning, and they asked him again at the end, and he swatted it away. So in between that were a bunch of Jayden Daniels questions and Bucs first game questions. So they asked him about Jayden's ability to like how far he's come and where have you seen his game grow from that first matchup against Tampa to now? And he's like, in everything. Like, and I thought this was a great answer by Kliff because he was like, we didn't know who we were. We didn't know what Jayden was. We didn't know what we had around him. We didn't know the strengths of Jayden. We didn't know the strengths of the guys around him. We didn't know how to get them the ball. You know, I didn't know how to call plays for Jayden. There was a lot of unknown at that time. And so you were kind of just trying to figure things out on the fly in that first game. And so he's grown in every way imaginable since then. It's not even close. It's night and day. And then he went on to talk about, they asked him, what was that one kind of signature moment for Jayden where you realized, hey, we got us one. We got one of them ones. And, you know, the first thing he talked about was in OTAs, that first rookie mini where they showed up. It wasn't the rookie, it was the full team OTAs. And Jayden went perfect in 7-on-7. And Kliff looked, he said he looked at one of the coaches and he said, shit, we got us one. Right? And they asked him what was the moment where you realized, okay, this kid's pretty special. Pretty much what was the signature moment of the season for you, where you started to believe like, hey, this dude is something else. And it's everybody's, like, I can't speak for anybody else out there because I don't know when you started to believe. I don't know when you turned the corner, when you started to say, well, whoa, this guy he's different. I don't know when that happened for you. But I've watched more football than should be humanly possible at my age. I consume football in lethal doses of the NFL variety. And so I've watched enough football to know when I see one of them once. And for me, I told you that night, I told you, this changes everything. It's a Cincinnati game. For anybody that knows ball, knows that Cincinnati game was a game changer. Throw the record out the window. The Bengals were 0-2. I just remember Troy Aikman that night coming on the telecast. And you know he loves him some Joe Burrow. If you watch Monday Night Football this year, every time they've had Joe Burrow, and they were on, I think, 3 different times, maybe twice. That they were on against us. They were on against Dallas. And then I think they had that Monday Night Crew on the Saturday game with Joe Burrow when they played against the Browns. Was it the Browns? Yeah, no, they played the Steelers. Then they played the Steelers this past weekend, week 18. I think they had the Monday Night Crew on that game. We all know the affinity that Troy Aikman has for Joe Burrow, right? So he took that opportunity to talk about how they started off 0-2, but they were getting T. Higgins back for the first time, you know, in the season. And this was going to be Joe's coming out party. And he expected Joe to have a big night, yada, yada, yada. And then Jayden Daniels crashed the party and made one of the throws of the season to Terry McLaurin. And Kliff talked about how he messed up the play call and everything was all bazity. And Jayden waved him off and said, hey, don't worry about it. I got it. And then he throws the dot to Terry, wins the game. And Jayden's like, okay, yeah, you got it, dog. You got it. And from that point on, he knew, okay, I got a savage. I got a cold-blooded killer at quarterback. That was the moment for me. To go to Cincinnati, outduel Joe Burrow, to do it in that fashion, to know, like, how many times as a Commanders fan, Redskins fan, Washington football team fan, have we watched games and we got a chance to put an opponent away? We don't. They come back, they score a touchdown, the game goes to overtime, we end up losing. It happened against the Saints in 2017. I remember like it was yesterday. Chris Thompson broke his ankle. The season was over pretty much, but we had a chance to win. And if you win that game, your season's not done. We were on life support, but without Chris Thompson, we had nothing. But he breaks his ankle, but we're up 14, though. We're up 14. And then all we had to do was convert a 3rd and 1. We couldn't do it. Drew Brees gets the football, scores a touchdown. We go 3 and out, trying to be conservative, run clock, yada, yada, yada. They get it again. They go down. They score another touchdown. Game goes to overtime. We never see the light of day. They win the toss. They go down. They score another touchdown. They win the game. We've seen it happen a million times. I have. I can't speak for you. So in that moment, up 5, knowing if you kick a field goal, go up 8, Joe Burrow's going to torch this defense, score a touchdown, get the 2-point conversion, go to overtime, and we're going to lose the game. And Jayden said, don't worry about it. I'll have none of it. That was a seminal moment in this season. And Kliff talked about that. He talked about Jayden's ability to compartmentalize. He said that that's probably his superpower, his biggest one. And I think we've all seen it, his cool, calm demeanor on the sidelines, unfazed. He threw the interception against Philadelphia. That kind of felt like, oh, man, that might have been our only shot to win the game. And, if Devontae Smith catches the ball, it probably would have been our only shot to win the game. But as fate would have it, he didn't catch that ball. We did get another shot, and you saw what he did with it, right? OZ drops a pass on 3rd down that would have got us a 1st down against the Falcons. That would have kept the drive alive, and we probably would have went down and probably scored and won the game in regulation. Doesn't happen. The defense gives up a touchdown or is able to force the Falcons to kick a long field goal, and they miss. We go to overtime. He gets it again, and it's over, right? His ability to go to the next snap, his ability to wipe the last play, whether it was a good one or a bad one, from the memory bank and hit the reset button is what makes him special. His ability to be calm on the sideline no matter what. That's what makes Jayden Daniels Jayden Daniels. He's cerebral. Kliff talked about that. Kliff talked about the lack of, touches and yards and targets for Terry in week 1 against Tampa. And I thought Kliff was going to bring up the fact that we had Terry on the deep ball. First play of the second half, and Jayden just overshot him. But he didn't bring it up. He just said, look, I got to do a better job of getting Terry involved. We didn't do a good enough job then. And, Jayden's done a much better job of, if Terry's, open or if he got one-on-one, he gets the ball to Terry. So, that's something that we definitely, got to change in this upcoming matchup against Tampa. So, I think I was watching the JP Finley media scrum, and I think Chris Rodriguez might have let a little something out of the bag. So he was asked if there was an emphasis being put on the run game this week. And he was like, nah, not really. And I'm like, what do you mean not really? Are you saying not really as in? And then he did say after he said that, like, we just are going to continue to do what we do. But I think he was more so telling us what the game plan is. Like, we already know Tampa Bay stopped the run. So we're not looking to bank. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if we come out and on our first 3 plays, let's say we don't get a first down on first down. We don't get a first down on second down. I wouldn't be shocked if our first 3 plays are all throws. We've seen that before from Kliff against teams where you don't necessarily think you're going to be able to run the ball effectively. We did the same thing against Philadelphia. First 3 plays of the game were all passes, and then we got to 4th down and 1. We tried to run it, and we got stuffed. But I wouldn't be shocked if they came out and it's pass on first, second, and third down if we get to that situation. I think the game plan is, hey, we're going to let 5 kind of dictate how this thing goes. You want to get it in your playmakers' hands. You want to get it in Eckler's hands, Brian Robinson Jr.'s hands, Terry's hands, Deami's hands, etc. But we're going to let Jayden kind of dictate how this goes. His legs, him keeping them honest. Maybe that allows you to get to some RPO stuff. That might loosen up the run game and allow, B-Rob and Eck and guys to be more effective. We'll see. Then you get to Joe Whitt Jr. And I thought both press conferences were full of questions from media members who weren't their sharpest. This was not the best media session I've seen from the local media. They wasted a few questions with Kliff on, and again, it's their job. I get it. I understand. But they wasted a couple of questions on him. You know, he wasn't going to answer that. What did you think he was going to say? He wasn't going to, like, it'd be one thing if it was Ronald Rivera where he's got loose lips and he doesn't know how to shut up. Then yeah, you ask him all kinds of questions. And even if you've already asked him twice, he might break down the third time and give you what you were looking for. Kliff has been consistent all year. If he's not answering something, he's not answering it. So after he shut you down the first time, why would you even go back down that well and waste one of the final questions of the press conference asking him about coaching opportunities and would he take interviews? Like, he's not going to answer that. And then you get to Joe Whitt Jr. and they're asking him questions like Ben Standing asked him a question about Kliff Kingsbury. And Joe Whitt's like, what? I didn't think I was going to get a Kliff Kingsbury question. Like, you know, what have you seen from Kliff Kingsbury? That's our OC. Like, yeah. And so he gives this standard run-of-the-mill answer. Yeah, Kliff shows up early. He's here like 3:30 in the morning. You know, Kliff's done a great job with Jayden. They're communicating. Like, bro, why are you asking me about our offensive coordinator? Ask me a Tampa Bay question. Didn't they? So, okay, fine. They're going to ask a Tampa Bay. They start asking him about Tampa Bay defensive players. They asked him about Kalijah Cansey, who didn't play in the first game. What kind of a different? And then Joe Whitt said, wait, what? You talking about their defensive tackle? And then the guy realizes, oh, I think it was Mitch Tisler. He's like, oh, yeah, oh, I'm sorry. Like he meant to ask that for Kliff. I think he asked the question. He wanted a response from Joe. And when Joe's response was like, bro, are you asking me, the defensive coordinator of the Commanders, about a defensive player? I'm not watching Tampa Bay defensive film. Like, that was kind of his response. And as he saw that, he kind of backed off like, oh, I'm sorry. No, you weren't sorry. You asked it intentionally. And when you saw that you was about to get your ass embarrassed, you backed off. You didn't forget you were talking to Joe Whitt Jr. Like, what are y'all doing? Y'all ain't in playoff form. But they did manage to ask some questions of Joe. And, Joe started off like he always does his press conferences by stating some of the things that they may not have done well in the game previous, some of the things they may have done well. Talked about some of the strengths of the Bucs, talked about Baker Mayfield's exploits and how well he's played this season, and some of the things that they didn't do well against him the last time and what they need to clean up. Kind of set the tone for the press conference, and then he let them have at it. So they asked him about the Bucs screen game, which we all know is a big deal, right? I brought this up as the X factor. They killed us on the ground the last time. Absolutely murdered us through the screen game. And he said that they get a lot of yards at or behind the line of scrimmage with Bake just getting it out of his hands. And he said they screen you in so many different ways. Liam Cohen, who is the first-year offensive coordinator of the Bucs, who's doing a phenomenal job, he said he gets to these screens in a multitude of ways, and it's to the backs, it's to the receivers, it's play-action screen, it's a regular running back flare screen, it's a middle screen to the tight end, it's a middle screen to the running back, it's a tunnel screen to the receiver, it's all kinds of different screens, right? Just like the Mike Evans. Think about that Mike Evans play that they threw to get him the 1,000 yards. Like, literally, that's a 5-yard screen, essentially. The two other receivers pressed up. Mike Evans runs an out. They throw it to Mike Evans, and then the two receivers block, and he gets up the field. Essentially a screen. It's a different form of the same thing. Just 5 yards past the line of scrimmage without the guys actually initiating contact with the defenders until he catches the ball, right? They find creative ways to create those types of matchups. They get in the red zone. They create those natural picks. They do those types of things. They're a very dangerous team underneath. We have to be sound in getting off blocks, attacking blocks, being in our right gaps, making tackles, We weren't very clean in any of those. I think week one, and again, it was week one. I think week one was our worst tackling game of the season. We were awful in that department. We didn't tackle well. I didn't think we rallied to the ball well enough in week one. There were a lot of bad characteristics that made us think this defense is going to be awful this year in week one. Vastly different defense now, but we know Tampa is dangerous. And Joe Whitt kind of, laid that out. Joe Whitt talked about Lattimore, and he said, look, if he plays, he doesn't like to assume that Lattimore, or anybody for that matter, is going to play until they are playing. That's an easy way of him not having to talk a lot about Lattimore either. So he didn't really expound upon, Lattimore, but he did talk about the matchup between he and Mike Evans. And he said, look, when you got two competitors out there, they're going to do battle. And as long as, Lattimore doesn't, or either one of them really, and look, as long as Lattimore keeps his cool, no matter what Mike Evans does, we Gucci over here. Like, we warrant the challenge, right? We looking for the smoke. We want it, and we embrace it. So, Joe Whitt talked about we got to get turnovers. I thought he was going to bring up the Frankie Louvu drop. He didn't from last week. He said that one of the things he was proud about from last week's game was the red zone defense. He talked about a couple of pivotal plays late in the game. The Cowboys ran a quarterback keep. We stopped them on a third down. That got us the ball back for the final possession. And then we had a 4th and 1, and we did the same read option quarterback keep. And, ours popped for, 40 yards or whatever, 35 yards. So he said that he was proud of the defense in the red zone and standing up when they needed to. But we all know, like, this defense does not instill confidence in us. But I feel totally different. I can't speak for you. I feel totally different about this defense when Marshawn Lattimore is in the game. So he gives us a different dimension, a different element that doesn't exist. There are no true weak links on the field when Marshawn Lattimore is on the field. We may not be great at other areas outside of linebacker, right? We may not be great anywhere else, but we're not weak. You're only as strong as your weakest link. Well, if you take Benjamin St-Juste or Michael Davis off the field, our weakest link, you could argue, are our ends, defensive ends. They're not terrible, okay? Dante Fowler Jr. has double-digit sacks. Cleveland Farrell isn't great, but he serves a purpose, right? When he is in the game, I actually like Jalen Holmes when he's, playing defensive end because he stops the run. Like Cleveland Farrell, he serves a purpose. He's not going to get after the quarterback, right? Dorrance Armstrong, he can get after the quarterback, and he does serve a purpose against the run. So those are your weakest links on defense if you take Benjamin St-Juste or Michael Davis off the field, which you do when you have Marshawn Lattimore. So I think this defense is different with him on the field. But I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know. So I like our chances if Marshawn plays, and I expect him to. So Joe Whitt talked about Bucky Irving a lot, and I think there was a little bit of Jalen McMillan mixed in there, but he really kind of threw a blanket over all of them. Like, look, they do a great job in the screen game with all those dudes. They get a lot of run after catch. McMillan, he killed us vertically the last time, though. He drew the pass interference / face mask against Emmanuel Forbes. He was open on the deep ball. Well, in week one, we had a lot of issues. The first 2 or 3 weeks, we had a lot of issues with switch routes, with combination routes. We did not pass things off well. We did not communicate well. We had a lot of bust in coverage. So McMillan got free because of one of those. But Joe Whitt Jr. talked about how, far the defense has come since then. And he talked about, you could tell he was a little bit annoyed by the fact that people aren't giving this defense credit for how far they've come. I'm one of those people that have given them credit, but I know a lot of you aren't impressed, and I get it because I'm not super impressed by a lot of the statistics that are in our favor. But he was like, look, when we started out the first 3 weeks of the season, we were dead last, one of the worst teams in pass defense. We're now top, 7 pass defense, top 5 pass defense. He's like, when we first started out the season, percentage-wise, completion percentage, we were, third worst in the league. Now we're top 3 in the league, top 5 in the league, right? He said when we started out the season, we were really bad on third downs. I was like, that's putting it mild. We were the worst. We were giving up over 60% the first 3 weeks of the season on third downs. It wasn't until the Arizona game where we started to turn the tide. And it took us about 3 weeks to get that third down defense from 60 to like 47, 48, which is still not good, by the way. Okay. But that's how bad we were. And he's like, now look at us. We're like, almost top 10 in the league in third down defense. So we've come a long way. A lot of people want to talk about the rush defense, this, that, and the third. But I'm like, for good reason, people want to talk about the rush defense. It's not good, but I get what he's saying. And I think with Marshawn Lattimore, all that stuff becomes heightened as well. So that was Joe Whitt Jr. in a nutshell. He said he's really excited. That I'll leave you with this, with Joe Whitt in particular. He said he's really excited about playoff football. They worked so hard to get here. He can't wait to get in that atmosphere and environment. And he doesn't smile a lot, but he started to smile when he talked about, being in this, environment and this opportunity that's in front of the team. So, we're about to transition to our next segment, but before we do that, I want y'all to do me a favor. If you believe in 5 and are excited that we got 5 on our side, we got 5 on it. If you're excited about 5 and understand that we're here because of 5, and we can achieve anything because of 5. I want you to put a 5 emoji in the comment section right now as I pull up my next shot. Shot 3. I want you to put a 5 emoji in the comment section. This shot's for Jayden. I don't know where the hell we would be right now without 5. I can tell you right now, we wouldn't be where we sitting at right now talking about bonus football. That's for damn sure. He has changed everything. We're playing on Sunday night football and wild card weekend. Let that shit sink in. Not 1 o'clock on Sunday, not Monday night, not 4:30 on Sunday, not 8 o'clock on Saturday night. 8 o'clock on Sunday night, the biggest stage, the brightest lights the NFL has on Super Wildcard Weekend is reserved for us because of 5. How many wins do we have late in games because of 5? Hey, 5, this one's for you, bro. Thanks for a hell of a rookie season, and we ain't done yet. We still got more work to do. It's the second season. But cheers to the first one, and thanks for restoring hope in a franchise that had been battered and bruised and beat to hell. You've restored hope in the nation's capital, and we look for bigger and better things from here on out. Cheers to that. 3 down. Woo! 2 to go. Woo! All right. For those of you who have a chance, I will be live in Richmond, RVA, on Sunday. Playoff watch party. If you can attend, man, I would love to meet all of you. I would love to turn up and have a great time with all of y'all. I'm going to try to create the best football watching experience you've ever had. I don't know how many times you've been out in a public setting watching a game and what that's been for you. I don't do a lot of, watching of games in public. I usually just watch them in my house. But I'm ready to get out and explore. I want to meet as many of you guys as possible. That's why I'm doing the trip to the DR. Link is in the description for that. If you are interested in going to the DR and turning up with me there, this is sort of a precursor to that. But this is going to be a ton of fun. I can't wait. Bart Scott can't wait. And so if you aren't doing anything, if you aren't, and I get it, it's a tough time. I get it. 8 o'clock on a Sunday. Most of you have to work on Monday. I get it. I understand. But we also have lodging for some of you who don't necessarily have to work, or you could take the day off on Monday, but you're worried about having to drive 2 or 3 hours and then having to turn around and do it again. We have lodging options, right? We have lodging options. Hit me up. We got lodging options. So hit me up, LouieTNetwork@gmail.com, and we can make something happen. But at the end of the day, if you just want to come out, have a damn good time watching the game amongst our people. You know how long we waited for this shit? I ain't talking about a playoff game. We were in the playoffs 4 years ago against this same Buccaneers. I'm talking about, do you know how long we waited for a playoff win? We winning this game on Sunday. I don't know if you're aware of that. We winning this bitch. And I want y'all to be a part of it with me in person. Now, if you can't be there in person, be there in spirit. And like I said, I'm going to try to have the live stream be during the game for everybody. Wise, it won't just be a mob thing. It'll be for everybody. We'll see if we can get everything kind of set up, but I can't make you any promises. But what I can tell you is we're going to turn up and we're going to have a good time. So if you haven't already done so, hit that link. It's down in the description of this video. I'm going to pin it to the comment section after this video is over. Mods, if you're out there, put the link to the watch party in the comment section. Hit that link and get you a ticket or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. Invite all your buddies. Invite all the people that you know. Let's turn up and let's do it in style. City's Bar and Grill in Richmond, Virginia. Doors open at 6. We're going to be live all the way until 2 o'clock in the morning. Oh, you know what it is. It's a Louie T Network thing. You know what it is. You know how we hold it down. We're going to be live for the entire game. That's the hope. And then obviously we're going to have our post-game show. Win, lose. There will be no draws. It's the postseason. There will be no ties. Okay? Somebody's going to win. Anyway, I digress. Let's move on to behind enemy lines. And this is a really interesting game because despite the Buccaneers' 10-7 record, they've got some damn good wins on their resume. They're the only team that can lay claim to beating both the Lions and the Eagles this season. They also beat the Chargers. They went toe-to-toe with the Chiefs, took them to overtime, didn't see the ball in overtime. They should have went for 2. I think that was Todd Bowles' mistake. He should have gone for 2 in that situation, but that's nor here nor there. Went toe-to-toe with the Chiefs. So in both conferences, they went toe-to-toe with the number 1 team in both conferences, the number 1 seed. Beat the number 1 seed in the NFC, went to overtime with the number 1 seed in the AFC, and lost in overtime. Beat the number 2 seed in the NFC as well. They did lose to the Ravens, but they beat the Chargers. That's another playoff team out on that side of the bracket. They lost to the Broncos. They did lose to the Broncos. See how many other playoff teams they might have locked horns with. It might be all. I don't think they played the Bills this year. I don't think they played the Texans this year. I know they played the Texans last year, so they didn't play them this year. They didn't play the Steelers, and they did play the Broncos and the Chargers, and they beat the Chargers, beat the brakes off the Chargers. They lost to the Broncos. In the NFC, they beat the 1 seed. They beat the 2 seed, right? They are the 3 seed. The 4 seed is the Rams. I don't think they played the Rams this year. The 5 seed is Minnesota. I don't think they played Minnesota this year. And then they beat us, obviously. And then they played, I don't think they played Green Bay either. So they didn't play Green Bay. So they got a hell of a resume. And they're 3-point favorites in this game. We're 3-point underdogs. So we're going to have to strap it up, because this team is not to be taken lightly. I don't think any of us are taking them lightly. I probably need to put a little bit more respect on their defense's name, because I really feel like if we are playing our brand of football and we're not helping them, we're not assisting them with penalties, drop passes, mistakes, etc., etc. If we're sharp, razor sharp offensively, I don't think their defense can stop us. Not many teams have been able to and can. There's only a select few that have slowed us down offensively when we haven't hurt ourselves. So I really think we can move the ball and be effective on them. But we can't have the mistakes. We can't have the penalties. We can't have the drop passes. Can't have the sacks. Can't have the mistakes. This is a good football team we're playing. And while a lot of people may think we're going to win, there's still more people out there that think we're going to lose. Expect us to lose. We are underdogs. But 3-point underdogs on the road in the playoffs signals Vegas saying, hey, we know you're a live dog. And we're not sure if Tampa Bay is going to win this game or not, but we know you're perfectly capable of going in there and winning. So, with that said, let's go behind enemy lines, talk about this matchup. We'll talk about the good guys, what they bring to the table, the Buccaneers, and then we'll really dive deep into Tampa Bay. All right. So, let's talk about Washington's offense first. 7th in the league in total offense at 370 yards a game. Coming from where we came from and what we've dealt with over the last, let's call it 6 years offensively, we haven't been a potent NFL offense since Kirk Cousins last year in Washington 2017. Even when Alex Smith was here in 2018, we weren't a potent NFL offense. We were solid. We weren't dynamic. I mean, it's Alex Smith, for God's sake, right? And then we know the bullshit that was 2019. We know what 2020 was, 21, all of that, the Rivera era. We haven't been this good offensively since 2016. 2017 for the first half of the season, but really 2016 is the last time we were this potent offensively. Scoring offense, 5th. I can't tell you the last time I've watched an Washington offense that's averaged almost 30 points a game. I can't tell you. I don't know, because even in 2016, we were really good. I'm not sure if we were averaging almost 29 points a game. And maybe we were. I'd have to go back. I know we had some big games in 2016. We put up some crooked numbers in 2016. We probably averaged like 26, 27 that year, I'd guess. 25.5 is crazy work, especially coming from where we came from. We were sub 20 for the last 3 years. The last time we averaged 20 points a game was 2020, and it was 20.7 points a game, 20.4, some shit like that. We've been sub 20 points each of the last 3 years, and now we almost scored 30 a game. That's wild. 5th in the league. Passing offense, 17th. Like, we've been middle of the pack pretty much all year at 216 yards a game. Sacks allowed, tied for 25th with 50. Again, a lot of that is either Jayden running out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage or him trying to make things happen. And Kliff brought that up. That's something else that Kliff said during his press conference that I forgot to mention. You know, he said the only thing that because somebody asked him about Jayden's ability to make the right decision consistently. And he said, they asked him, how often does Jayden make the right decision? And he said, pretty much almost all the time, except for he's taken a lot of sacks. He said because of the lack of run game here lately, he has, took it upon himself to try to make things happen, and he's taken some sacks. So outside of that, he's made pretty much every right decision. And even that, you're not willing to put all of that on his shoulders because you're like, he's trying to make something happen to offset a lackluster ground game from the running backs and the offensive line. Rushing offense, 3rd in the NFL. And as I sit here talking all this shit about the lack of run game with the running backs, this, that, and the third, we still averaging 154 yards a game on the ground. And Jayden Daniels ain't running for 154 yards. Jayden Daniels ain't running for 100 yards a game. He didn't have 1,700 yards rushing this year. He had 891. Somebody else got yards, obviously. So I get it. Of late, it's really just been him. But as a team, we still are able to run the football somewhat effectively. Like, if we weren't running it, we would have gone. We've been 3rd for a very long time. Like, we've been 3rd since like week 12, like week 11 or 12. Like, we ain't moved off the spot. At one point, we were number 1 going into that. I want to say it was the Ravens game, week 6. I think we were number 1 in the league in rush yards. And then we were either 1, 2, or 3, or 2 or 3 since week 6. And I don't think we've gone any further than 3, maybe 5, maybe. So we're running the ball still, just not with the running backs. But I think the run game and the running backs in particular could be X factors on Sunday night. 3rd down offense, we're 6th in the NFL at 45.6%. We're going to need that 3rd down offense. And not just the 3rd down offense, we're going to need the 3rd down offense to create 4th down and shorts if we can't convert on 3rd downs. We're going to need the 3rd down offense. If it's 3rd and 8, get 6. Make it 4th and 2. Get 7. Make it 4th and 1. Give us a shot on 4th down. We're the best in the business on 4th downs. 20 of 23 this season. Nobody with at least 20 attempts this season has that high of an average. One of the keys to this game, I think, is going to be whose 3rd down offense is able to keep the other team's offense off the field. And for us, it's not just 3rd down offense, it's 3rd and 4th down offense. Whatever it takes to sustain the drive, stay on the field, and try to get points. Total defense, we're 13th in the NFL at 327 yards per game, which is, again, a blessing in itself. Our offense probably has a lot to do with the fact that but you got to give the defense credit too. They get stopped sometimes, just not when we need them the most. Okay. Scoring defense, 18th in the NFL, 23 points a game. I'll take it. We were dead last in scoring defense last season. Dead last. Giving up the most points per game in the NFL a season ago. So telling me that we're somewhere close to the middle of the pack. I told you before the season started, if you put me anywhere near the middle of the pack, I'll take it. Pass defense, 3rd in the NFL. I know some of you are like, yo, what the F? We've been 3rd for a long time. At 189.5 yards per game. My guy, Derek B, was bringing up some numbers as to why. You know, I think he said we have the 2nd fewest attempts against us. Some of that is our offense winning time of possession. But remember, there was a stretch there where we weren't winning time of possession. And there have been games, obviously the Eagles game, where we didn't win time of possession. And the defense had to get stops. And they've gotten stops. The first Eagles game, our offense was putrid. That wasn't our offense keeping the defense off the field. That was our defense keeping the defense off the field by getting stops and getting themselves off the field. So I know the pass defense hasn't been great, but at all times, but it's still a top 3 unit. Put some respect on that name. And we get Marshawn Lattimore back. Sacks. This is the one that kind of boggles my mind. We're tied for 11th with 43 sacks. I ain't seen it. Where them sacks come from? You know, Frankie ain't had a sack and it feels like a month. This man had 8 sacks with like 4 or 5 games to go, and he didn't get another sack. I don't think he got another sack. Like, where do these sacks come from? Dante Fowler Jr. had, I think him and Frankie both had 8 sacks with about 5 or 6 games to go. 4 or 5 or 6, somewhere in that neighborhood. And Fowler got to 10. Frankie ain't move. Where these sacks come from? Who got these sacks? That's what I want to know. Where these sacks come from? I would like to see some on Sunday. If you got any more left in the bag. Rush defense, this is what it might boil down to in this game is, can we stop the run? The Bucs, we're going to talk about their rush offense here in a bit. 30th in the NFL, giving up 137.5 yards a game. Shit ain't good. And as fans, we've felt every bit of that 137.5. We felt all of it. Okay. The second Giants game. Hell, the first Giants game. Both Giants games, right? Especially the first half of the second game. The second half of the Eagles, or the fourth quarter of the first Eagles game. The first quarter of the second Eagles game. And there's countless games in between. The fourth quarter versus the Bears. We've felt every bit of that 137.5. Third down defense, 15th in the league. That's a respectable number at 38.1%. We were at 62% after 3 weeks of football. 62%. It took us 3 weeks, 3 games to take that 62 and get it down to like 54. And this was like posting, like, I think Arizona was like 3 of 10. Cleveland was like 2 of 11. And we still was in the 60s, like high 50s. It took us like 3 weeks to get it to like 54, 53. And then it took us another 2 weeks to get it sub 50. We weren't sub 50 until like week 8 or 9. Now look at us. Look, I ain't complaining, but you're going up against the best third down offense in football. Time of possession, we're 13th in the league at 30 minutes and 30 seconds, roughly. And turnover differential, man, everything was all good just a couple weeks ago. What a difference a month makes. We were talking about trying to get this thing up into the double digits, plus 12, 13. Now we at +1, hanging on for dear life. At least we in the plus this year. Last year we were like minus 15, 16, 17. We were awful plus minus category. All right, let's go from the good guys to the ops. Total offense. The Bucs are third in the NFL, compiling 400 yards a game. 400 a game. Scoring offense. We thought we were good at 28.5. Try the Bucs on for size at 29.5 a game. 29.5 a game. Fourth in the league. We sixth in the league. Passing offense, third in the league at 250 yards per game. 250 a game. Sacks allowed, tied for 15th at 40. And that number, just like our number, is 50, and it could easily be 70 if not for Jayden escaping. That number is 40. It easily could be 50 or 60 with Baker not breaking all of the tackles and sacks that he broke this season. Rush offense, fourth in the NFL at 149.2. We're third in the NFL, so they are right there, knocking on the door behind us. Third down offense, we've talked about this all week. I talked about it, and we talked about it with the Commanders, Kings. Rio brought it up. I brought it up. I talked about it a ton tonight. I've talked about it throughout the course of the week on CNN. First in third down offense. 50.93. So 51%. 51% on third downs. 51%. Hold on a second. Checking something real quick. Okay. So, total defense, they're 18th in the NFL. All right. What were we? 13th, right? They're giving up 342 yards a game defensively. Scoring defense, they're 16th. So they're better than us. We're giving up 23 points a game. I think we were 18th. They're giving up 22.6 points a game. So, again, not that far off. Pass defense, they're 29th in the NFL. We're third in the NFL. They're 29th at giving up 244 yards a game. Sacks, they're sixth with 46. Again, when I watch Bucs games, I don't see it. Where them sacks come from? Obviously, they're there. They're sixth in the NFL, tied for sixth. So they're getting to the quarterback. But they ain't been facing Jayden Daniels. We got to make sure that either he getting it out of his hands or he able to, they do enough to allow him some space to operate, to get away, run, and make a big play. I don't think we're going to see a ton of Todd Bowles being aggressive blitzing because he understands if they blitz and they don't get there, it's Lamar Jackson all over again. And Lamar cooked them on Monday Night Football this year. And Lamar has always cooked the Buccaneers with Todd Bowles as their defensive play caller. So I think he's going to be a bit cautious this time around. But we'll see. I could be wrong about that. You got to pick your spots. If you pick them correctly and you catch him off guard, you can sack him. You can sack him. But if he sees the blitz and he's ready for it, oh, you in trouble. Rush defense, obviously, we talked about this ad nauseum. The Bucs are one of the best in the business. Vita Vea company, they just don't give it up on the ground. Fourth best rush defense in the league. 98 yards per game given up. Sub 100. Ain't many teams in the league doing that. Ain't many teams in the league doing that. Third down defense, they're 14th in the NFL. So again, a lot of these defensive statistics look very similar. Very similar. As a matter of fact, a lot of their statistics, offense and defense, very similar. I mean, sacks, they got 46, we got 43. Total defense, they're 18th, we're 16th. Or 13th, I believe. No, it's scoring defense. They're 16th, we're 18th. We're giving up 23 points, they're giving up 22.6. Right? There's a big discrepancy in pass defense and a big discrepancy in run defense. Their pass defense stinks. Ours is good. Good. Their rush defense is good. Ours stinks. Third downs, we're both at 38%. Right? We're 13th in the league. They're 14th in the league. Time of possession, they're second in the NFL. And that's a byproduct of them being number one on third downs. And the ability to run the football as effectively as they've ran it this season. So I think that's the secret sauce in this game. If we let them win time of possession, they can shorten the game, they can keep our offense off the field, and that's going to put us in a bind. Now, what we do know is Jayden, because we run an up-tempo offense, we don't need a lot of time to do damage. We don't need a lot of time to do damage. But you want more opportunities, not less. And if they're converting third downs, if they're running the football, if they're keeping the ball away from our offense, it could spell trouble for us in this game. But this is the thing that I'm looking at and I'm saying, hey, I'm like, this is the thing right here. Turnover differential. They're -5. -5. Baker Mayfield leads the NFL in interceptions thrown this season. This is where we can take advantage, but we don't get turnovers. We don't get turnovers, but this is the one that I'm looking at and I'm saying, why not us? Why not us? That's the stat right there. So let's really dive deep into the Bucs. So here are all the records that the Buccaneers have set offensively this season. Rushing first downs. The old record was set for Tampa Bay in 1984 with 114. They set that record this year and broke it at 137 rushing first downs. Again, that speaks to their ability to run the football and convert on third downs, right? Speaking of rush yards, they set a new record, franchise record for most rush yards in a season. In 1979, they set the record at 2,437. This year, over 2,500 yards, 2,536 yards to be exact, on the ground between three backs and Baker Mayfield. Rush yards per rush. The old record was set in 2015 at 4.75. They had 455 carries for 2,162 yards. New record set this year. They're getting over 5 a pop. 5 a pop. 5.25 yards. That's the shit that scares me. They're getting chunk runs. They had like 2 or 3 against us in week 1. Chunk runs. Big ones. That's the shit that scares me. If you want to nickel and dime me, it sucks getting nickel and dime for 5 and 6 and 4, but all it takes is one holding penalty. All it takes is a batted ball on third down and your ass is off the field. The shit that scares me is when you give up the 27-yard chunk run, the 42-yard chunk run. That shit we gave up to Saquon, the shit we gave up to DeAndre Swift, that's the shit that scares me. I don't want no parts of that. And they're capable. 483 carries for 2,536 yards. They set a new record for completion percentage. Obviously, I told you Baker Mayfield crazy with the 71%. The old record was 67.3% set by Tom Brady in 2021. 492 of 731. That's a lot of damn passes. 731 passes in a season is wicked. New record set by Baker Mayfield. 71.5. They rounded up 5%. 408 completions on 571 attempts. Crazy. Baker was crazy accurate this year. And as many of those has been, behind or at the line of scrimmage, is 2 times as many up the field, intermediate to deep. Passer rating. Old record, 102.8 set in 2020 in Tom Brady's Super Bowl season for the Bucs. New record by Baker Mayfield, 106.8 passer rating this year. Killed it. But this is the big stat for me. This is the one that I'm really focused in on. Right here. Third down conversion rate. Third down conversion rate. They set the new record. The old record was 47.1% in 2020 with Tom Brady. Again, 105 of 223. This year, they completing at a 51% clip on third downs. 50.9 to be exact. 51%. 110 of 216. I'm going to read you this little excerpt from an article that talked about their third down conversion rate. Because there's something in here that I highlighted that to me is critical. The Buccaneers led the NFL in this category in 2024 and produced the 14th best third down rate in NFL history. The highest since Kansas City hit 52.2 in 2021. Even though the 2024 team had superior ground game, overall, Brady's 2021 squad was actually better at converting third downs on the ground with the 71.4% success rate compared to the 65.5% this season. But the 2024 team converted 45.6% of its third down passing and better than the 41.4% managed by the 2021 crew. But this is the part that I highlighted because I wanted to know the average down and distance for Tampa Bay on third downs. They're so good on third downs. Well, what are they converting? Are they converting on 3rd and 3? Are they converting on 3rd and 5? Are they converting on 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6? What are we talking about here? This year's offense was also significantly better at converting third and medium and long third down tries than the team in 2021. While the team from 3 years ago was extremely good when needing 1 to 3 yards, they were at 75.7% back in 2021. The 2024 team converted 67.7% in 1 to 3 yard third down situations. The 2024 team had wide edges from 4 to 6 yards. They converted 3rd and 4, 5, or 6. 63.2% of the time. That is insane. And 3rd and 7, 8, 9, or 10, 37% of the time. So you're not safe in 3rd and 8 or 9. You can't feel like, okay, we got him. And I don't think any of us feel super confident in those situations. I feel a little bit more confidence with Marshawn Lattimore, but I don't think any of us feel like ultimate confidence when it's 3rd and 9. Like, we got him. We gave up a 3rd and 13 to Trey Lance on Sunday. There's nothing comfortable about being in third down and long with this team. But again, Lattimore gives me a level of confidence that didn't exist 2 weeks ago. So this Buccaneers team converted 31 of its tries between 11 and 20 yards. You hear that? 31 attempts from 11 to 20 yards, they converted those as well. I don't know out of how many, but it doesn't matter. 3rd and 13, 3rd and 15, 3rd and 17, they converted anywhere from 3rd and 11 to 3rd and 20, 31 times. And one of those came against us, if you recall in the first game when they threw the wide receiver screen and it popped for like 27 on 3rd and 18. One of them shits came against us. So we know they're capable. The Buccaneers were the best team in the NFL in the intermediate range on third downs this season, while Tampa Bay and Buffalo tied for the top spot with conversion rates of 63.2%. The Bucs did it on 19 more attempts. So essentially what they're telling you is not only are the Bucs great on 3rd and 4 to 6, they're great on volume. You know, we've all heard about the three-point shooter who is shooting 42% from deep, but he ain't shooting on true volume. He done only took 52 attempts this year. Nah, we talking about a team that's shooting 42 from deep, and they done shot 214 threes. Okay, nah, that dude is he's an assassin from deep. That's Tampa Bay on third downs. So know what you're dealing with. And I'm going to take it a step further. Let's look at Baker Mayfield on third downs in particular. So these are Baker Mayfield's numbers on third downs in particular, just third down. He's got 142 attempts on third down. He's completed 95 of them for a 67% completion percentage on third downs. That's wild on third downs. And it's not dink and dunk city, all right? That's 1,174 yards on third down. He's averaging 8 yards per attempt, 8.3. So again, this ain't no check down. These ain't screens. Some of them might pop as screens, but he pushing the ball down the field on third down. He's getting a ton of yards. He's got 12 touchdowns on third down this season. 8.4% touchdown rate on third downs. He's also thrown 6 interceptions on third downs. All right. He threw 16 this season. Over a third of them came on third down. So that's something to keep in mind. He will try to force the issue on third downs. If you're going to get him on a down, it's probably third down. 4.2 interception rate on third downs. He's got a long of 36 yards on third down. Plus 20 yards 17 times on third down. Plus 20 yards. He's been sacked 15 times. Not a big number for 142 dropbacks. Especially probably all the times he done got away. Could have been more. He's lost 86 yards on those 15 sacks. 102.8 rating on third down. This is where the game is going to be won or lost by Washington. I truly believe. On third downs. So, let's talk about it. Let's go to social media maneuvers. Let me take my fourth shot. Pull up. Cheers to Marshawn Lattimore's health and his ability to drastically change the way this defense is able to defend, not just on Sunday, but the remainder of this season and in the next season. We didn't trade for Marshawn Lattimore just to be a 1 or 2 game rental. We traded for this man to help us win big this season and next, and possibly into the future. I want him to be for us what Darius Slay has been for the Eagles. That's what I want Marshawn Lattimore to be for us. Here's to that happening and him even being better than Big Play Slay. Cheers. All right, one more to go. 4 down. 1 to go. Woo! 2 claps and a Ric Flair. Woo! All right. Let's get to the comment section. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. John Milstead. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, John, writes, my awesome wife bought us tickets to the watch party on Sunday. Looking forward to kicking it with the mob. I saw that. I saw that she purchased 2 tickets. I can't wait to meet you guys and chop it up with you guys. So awesome. I can't wait. Bart Scott. Can't wait. Shout out to your awesome wife, John. Not today. I'm busy. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, JD5 is like Hines Ward, always smiling. I love it. Hines Ward was always smiling. Now, JD ain't always smiling like Hines was smiling all the damn time. JD be chilling a lot of time, but his demeanor, his personality is one that you're going to see him smiling more times than not. So I get where you're coming from on that. Red Boy, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Red Boy writes, last playoff game we played was against the Bucs. Yeah, it was. We've played more playoff games over the last 25 years against Tampa Bay than any other team in the NFL. 4. This will be the 4th time we played against Tampa Bay in the last 25 years in the postseason. The next closest team is Seattle with 3. So, yeah, we played them back in 2020 when we won the division against Tom Brady. That year they won the Super Bowl. We played them in 2005 when we beat them, which was our last playoff victory. And we also played them in that 99 season, but the playoff game actually took place in 2000, January of 2000. But we've seen this Bucs team quite a bit of history between the two teams in the postseason. Looking forward to writing more history. Right now, in that little, time frame, the Bucs have the edge 2-1. But I'm looking for us to even up the score, right? We've won on their territory. They've won on our territory. And they've won at home. Now it's our turn to go there and win, right? We haven't beaten them at home yet. But I like us to even up the score, 2 apiece. So let's get it. And I think we got a good shot at infiltrating their stadium, having a bunch of Commanders fans in the building, and really making it feel like home. You know what I'm saying? I've heard a lot of people be like, yo, I'm going to be at the game. So I love it. Swaggy P, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Swaggy P writes, I've been watching Jayden since his freshman year at ASU and watched him take down Justin Herbert live in person and knew he was special. Oh, you talking about that freshman year against Oregon. Okay. That was one of his best, moments while at ASU. The Bengals game was only reinforcing my thoughts of what I saw years earlier. I had no idea. So I'm guilty as charged. I'm going to be honest with you. And I think I've told you guys this already with Jayden. It wasn't until his last year at LSU that I was sold. I thought he was a basic. When I watched him at ASU, I didn't see it. I didn't watch that Oregon game. So I didn't see it. I saw a tall, angular kid, skinny, solid arm, but, nothing earth-shattering. He didn't make any massive plays. He wasn't a needle mover for me. Then he goes to LSU, and I'm like, that first year, I ain't see it. It was very similar to Joe Burrow. It was the exact same thing to Joe Burrow. That first year Joe Burrow was at LSU, 3rd round pick at best. I said Joe Burrow's a 3rd round pick going into his senior season at LSU. I said the same thing about Jayden Daniels. I said he's a 3rd round pick right now. And then I remember this like it was yesterday. Me and my boys went on a trip. We went to Miami. We went to South Beach. And it was a Saturday morning. We got up early. We went out. We was, getting breakfast or whatever. Saturday afternoon. And, I'm vegan, so we had to go to a specific spot for me to eat something. And we sitting down waiting for them to call my name to pick up my order. And we watching one of the TVs, and it's LSU, Mississippi State. And Jayden throws a dime to Malik Neighbors in the corner of the end zone. And my boy's like, yo, he nice. And I'm like, who? Him? And it was Jayden Daniels. I'm like, who, him? I'm like, man, he ass. He like, man, that was a hell of a throw. I don't know what you're talking about. And then we proceeded to watch that game. And he killed Mississippi State. And it was that moment when I was like, yo, maybe he done changed. Maybe he done got nice on me. On some Joe Burrow shit. And that's when I started watching him a lot closer. And I realized he's evolved. I don't know what happened. And, we heard about VR and all the other shit that was going on. And maybe he just got more comfortable in his skin. But the VR definitely helped. But whatever happened, that leap from that first year at LSU to that last year, life-changing. Same thing with Joe Burrow. It's no different. Joe Burrow was basic as hell his first year at LSU, and then he wins the Heisman, one of the greatest college football seasons I've ever seen from a quarterback. And they went through the gauntlet that year. And to watch Jayden Daniels do what he did, it was impressive. So you had confirmation. I needed belief. I needed to see it to believe it. That was my awakening. That was my aha moment. Like, oh shit, we got us one of them once. That was my moment. I didn't know. I wasn't sure. I knew he was talented, but how talented? That was my, oh, we got one of them. All right, let's go to work. Let's do this. I'm ready. Metaphor. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Metaphor writes, thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, since the game, JD said, I know Kung Fu. Neo, the one. Yo, that game changed everything, bro. Everything. That game changed everything. So, Swaggy P, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, me watching the Bengals game, Adrian Peterson voice, when I seen them throw that ball. Yo, that Bengals game was wicked. And it was every play in that game that he made. Like, we knew what it was that night. We knew what Joe Burrow was going to do that night. Our defense was ass the first 2 weeks. We knew Joe Burrow was going to carve him up. We knew he was going to have to outscore them. And Jayden knew the assignment. It wasn't just the Terry deep ball at the end. It was the Terry deep ball. Remember, he missed Terry on the first deep ball. Bad. It was his worst deep ball throw of the season. Then he comes back and he hits him. He drops a dime on Terry down to like the 2 or 3 yard line. We run it in. But let's we went too far. Don't forget the 4th down on the first possession. Remember, Cincinnati went down, scored a touchdown. Jamar Chase, 30-yard touchdown, whatever, however long it was, boom, right? Touchdown, opening drive. Oh shit, it's about to be a rout. This about to be a homecoming game. They about to run us. And Jayden was like, nah, we went for it on 4th and 4, and he hits Luke McCaffrey. Luke intercepted the pass for Noah Brown. But that either way, that shit probably was going to be complete. I'm glad Luke intercepted it, though. It's going to be a tight contested catch for Noah Brown. But I think he would have caught the shit. Either way, it was from that point on, the rest of that game, it was dots. Then the Trent Scott touchdown, what? Man, we was playing games with these boys, man. We was having fun on these boys. Daniel Moore, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, like, subscribe, and share the channel. # I got 5 on it. And also, get them tickets to the watch party. Y'all know what it is. If you on the fence, get off the fence and get in the game. See you on Sunday night in Richmond at City's Bar and Grill. Again, if you need lodging, if you got to drive, we got some hotels for you. Hit me up. I got answers. You got questions, I got answers. Be in the building. That's what it's about. Be in the building. All right? Be amongst your people. Live and in color. Y'all heard the man. Like, share, subscribe. CR7's the GOAT. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, can I get some? Oh. You ain't shit, CR7. You ain't shit, CR7. You ain't shit for that. You got me. Hands up. You got me. You got me. My hands up. You got me. I was tripping. I was tripping. I got caught slipping. My guy Abner Duran. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy Ab is going to be in the... This is how I know we win in the game on Sunday. If there was ever any doubt, Ab said, I got the flag and I'm on my way. He going to be in the building on Sunday. We don't lose when Ab shows up to the game in person. It's a wrap. Go ahead and put that dub up right now. Jayden Daniels, remember, after we beat Atlanta, he wrote on the camera, dub. Go ahead and write dub, because Ab's in the building. My man Abner from Mexico. Lou. I'm ready to see JD5 reaffirm himself as Offensive Rookie of the Year. That's done, Ab. That's in the bag. Just throw it in the bag. That's done. That's a regular season award, Ab. That's in the bag already, bro. Both Lattimore versus Evans and Biotis versus Villa battles, although Samer Still versus Evans would be nice too. I'm good on that. Let me get the Evans versus Lattimore. I'll take Samer Still on the field. Well, most likely it'll be McMillan, but I'll take Samer Still against the field. Sterling Shepard, Jalen McMillan, whomever. Anyway, I'm ready to take the vibes there and be a part of history. Oh, I know you are, Ab, and I'm ready for you. I'm so ready for you to take care of business. Don't forget to at me when you show up on that property and you drop that flag and you got that picture. Make sure you at me so I can repost that like I always do. My guy Ab in the building. Door Gunner. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy Door Gunner writes, I will keep my leg warm just in case. Hey, we good, man. We good. Zane Gonzalez got it. But I appreciate the sentiment. But Zane Gonzalez got it. You just take care of business in the stands and hold us down and do what you're supposed to do, which is bring home the dub, right? Red Boy, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, when I watched Jayden mic'd up versus Atlanta, I really appreciated how much love and respect he got from the players on both teams. Really says a lot about him. It does. It really says how, first of all, he's a respectful dude, right? Like, he set the tone. Like, if he's abrasive, if he's talking shit, you think Jesse Bates III is going to be like, after the game, like, yo, you got the juice, bro. You one of them ones, like, I told you got a chance to be great. Go be great. He pulled Jesse, he said to Jesse early in the game, hey, OG, you one of the best in the game, bro. And he turned around like, what? He said, you one of the best in the game. He's like, hey, man, I appreciate that. You one of the young stars coming up in the game. Like, keep doing your thing, man. You got a chance to be one of the best. And then after the game, after he blessed him, Jesse was like, see, I told you got a chance to be one of the best. Go out and do it, right? But that's Jayden's demeanor. Like, when he talked to somebody, he giving you love and respect. It ain't no way you gonna turn that down and it be animosity. He's showing you love, right? And then he got respect amongst his peers because he that dude. Like, game recognized game. If you nice, you got the respect of your peers automatically. Then you throw on top of that, you just a good dude. Well, guess what? It's hard not to like you. You nice and you a good dude. How am I hate that? That's like the Tim Duncan effect. Like, you nice and you a good dude. How am I gonna be mad at that? You know, I love listening to KG talk about when he used to play against Tim Duncan, or other dudes talk about when they played against Tim Duncan and how Tim would give them compliments while he giving them 28 and 18, right? Hey man, you did a good job just now, man. You made that tough on me. Like, how you supposed to be mad at that? When you're a good dude and you bout that life, it's hard not to be a likable dude. And he's got it all, right? I loved it too, Red Boy. Christopher McLaughlin, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Chris, thank you for being Chris. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, C-Mac. As always, thank you for the generosity. Greatly appreciate you. Writes, hey, Lou. What's up, Chris? Hope all is well with you and the family. 4 questions. 1, what exotic blitzes do you expect from Todd Bowles, including cover 0, and why? 2 and 3, what has been your highest and lowest moment of the season and why? That's a good one. And 4, what scares you the most about the Bucs and why? All right. So let's dive in to that piece by piece. Oh, shit. Notre Dame at the Penn State 23 with a chance. I don't trust our field goal kicker, but a chance to win the goddamn game. Oh, shit. Let's see if we can get the shit done. All right. I'm gonna go in the order that you asked the question. So, what exotic blitzes do I expect from Todd Bowles? So I think he's gonna be a little bit more reserved than he was the first time he came after Jayden, because he was a rookie and he wanted to pull his card, see what he was about. I think this game, he's gonna still come after him, but he's gonna pick his spots. I think you'll see the occasional second down and long blitz, right? It won't just be third down where he'll pick his spots. He'll pick his spots on second down too, try to get us in third and super long. But I think they're going to look at some of the things we've struggled against this season. We struggled on overload blitzes to one side. We've struggled on, interior pressures at times. And disguises where it looks like it's coming from one side and it comes from the other side. So you look like they're coming off this way. They drop that side. You thought they were coming that way. You slide protection that way. Now you got free hitters coming from the other side. And it's really not even a super blitz. Like, they might have rushed 5, maybe even 4, and they didn't blitz. But now because you slid protection, somebody coming scot-free. So it'll be interesting to see. Hey, we won. Thank you. I told me in the comment section. I told you we was going to beat these bums. I can't wait to watch the game. Is the game over? 7 seconds left. It ain't over yet. That got to stay all zeros, but I expected to beat them. Ohio State is the one that scares me. So I don't expect cover 0. I don't expect any cover 0, because you would be a madman to cover 0 blitz Jayden Daniels. You wouldn't do that to Lamar Jackson. Because if you don't get to him and he breaks that first wave of defenders, who's catching him? It's a touchdown. So, because if you play in cover 0, that means everybody else is in man-to-man coverage. You can't be looking at the quarterback and your man at the same time. You running with your man. You have no idea what's happening. And if he breaks that first wave, he's gone. You can't cover 0 Lamar Jackson. You can't cover 0 Jayden Daniels. So I don't expect not a single cover 0 blitz. Not happening. 2 and 3. What has been your highest and lowest moment? This is a really good one, Chris. Damn, that's a good one. All right. So the highest was the Cincinnati game. I know we beat Philadelphia, and that one counts a lot. And I'd say it's a tie between Philadelphia, the second game against, because we needed that one. We needed that one bad. So it's a three-way tie. It's been so many moments. I don't know if we needed a game more than Chicago. That's real talk. Like, it's easy to isolate the Philadelphia game and how much shit was being talked by Eagles fans, this, that, and the third, and we had already lost once. But put yourself back to where you were on Halloween that weekend when we beat Chicago, and what the sentiment was surrounding that. Come on now. Like, that Chicago game was everything. We needed that one bad. The Hail Mary is probably at the top of the list. But for me, it's a three-way tie. I can't pick one. I'm sorry. It's the Hail Mary against Chicago. It's the moment where we realize Jayden Daniels is him. He's one of them ones against Cincinnati. And then it's the Jamison Crowder touchdown at the end against Philadelphia to win it. Those are all like game-changing moments. Yeah, overtime against Atlanta was cool and it clinched the playoffs and that was great. But none of those, without all of the other ones, Atlanta, that game doesn't exist. That game doesn't happen. So, all right, Notre Dame won. Let's go. So now, my lowest moment of the season, I think I've already told you this before, but I'll repeat it again. It was the Steelers game. Because I know we lost to Dallas, and I know the extra point miss, but we weren't the better team that day. Like, that whole game sucked. And that one extra point didn't change the fact that the Cowboys dominated. They were the better team that day. I didn't like the way we played that game. We played scared. We played not to lose. That was some Rivera shit. I said that after the game. We were the better team against the Steelers. That shit hurt because they shouldn't have beat us. They weren't better than us. We were way better than them. They shouldn't have even been in the game. And to lose in a fashion where the referees didn't even give us a chance. That spot they gave us was pure bullshit. And to see how they did us in that moment frustrated me to no end, because they could have at least respotted the ball, measured, and said, hey, y'all ain't get it. And I would have been okay with that. For them to just say, nah, it's at the 42, when clearly he was contacted at the 41, and for them to just be like, nah, y'all ain't get it. That's bullshit. For all the mistakes we made to only lose that game by one, and then to have Johnny Newton put the exclamation point on it by jumping off sides, that game hurt. Because you think about that game and the Cowboys game, you put those two together, and you got a chance to win the division. But again, the season, I always say the season happens the way that it's supposed to, because you got the Hail Mary against Chicago. You got the game against Philadelphia. You got the Saints game with the 2-point conversion. You got the game against Dallas here at the end. You got the game against Atlanta. Like, those games could have went either way. So when it's all said and done, it all evens out. But my lowest point was the Steelers loss, because that was a game that we should have won, and we were the better team. And that kicked off the 3-game losing streak. So then you said, what scares you most about the Bucs and why? What scares me most is their offense. It's like, I would love to just give you one thing, but you said the most. I'm not going to take a cop out. You said the most. The thing that scares me the most, I think we can slow their run game down. I actually really do. Baker Mayfield scares me the most. The inability to get this man on the ground. And Joe Whitt Jr. said this. I said this to y'all yesterday before Joe Whitt Jr. said it. Joe Whitt Jr. said, it wasn't just us. He was blessing the entire league. Getting away, avoiding sacks, breaking tackles. He said, we got to tackle him like he's a running back. The problem is you got to get to him first. And then when you get to him, you got to get him down. And I just hope that when the opportunities present themselves, because we've been so terrible at taking it away, when those opportunities present themselves, we take advantage. I hope we get 2 or 3 opportunities to take it away. But what scares me the most is Baker Mayfield's ability to improvise, to make something happen after the initial play breaks down. We're not good in those situations. We let Kenny Pickett complete a 4th and 6 to A.J. Brown, miss a tackle, and get a first down because we couldn't finish the play. We almost let Trey Lance score a touchdown on a 4th down before halftime because we had a clean sack on him. Defoe couldn't get him down, and he broke contain and had a wide open receiver and short hopped him. Like, we don't handle broken plays well. So if Baker Mayfield is able to extend, he's going to hurt us. That's what scares me the most. Baker Mayfield scares me the most. Abner Durant, my guy, Ab. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Ab writes, we got to find equilibrium between rushing and run defense. We got to take care of Bucky Irving. We got to set new minimums, set a new floor, and make our new culture be set. Or excuse me, make our new culture be felt. Excuse me. Let's effing go, Lou. Great point about Bucky Irving. He's been such a catalyst here of late with this Bucs offense. On the ground, through the air. They throw it to him in the screen game. They run it with him. He can catch it out of the backfield. Like I said, he's not fast, right? That's what made him drop in the draft. He's not fast. He's a 4.5, 4.40 type guy. He's not fast. He's Alvin Kamara fast, right? That's why Alvin Kamara dropped in the draft. Not as far, but he's quick and he's elusive. He's a problem, is what Bucky Irving is. We better be able to tackle. We got to find that equilibrium. We got to find that happy medium between stopping the run and getting some rush offense. I couldn't agree with you more, Ab. Spot on. My guy, Ab, been a member for 39 months. Salute to my guy, Ab. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Saludo. Hope I said that right. He says, find the equilibrium between blitzing and running defense, I meant. You know what? I don't know how much blitzing we're going to see from Joe Whitt Jr. I think he'll pick his spot similar to Todd Bowles. I think he'll pick his spots. But I don't foresee us being super aggressive in that way. And again, maybe Marshawn Lattimore gives Joe Whitt Jr. a little bit more confidence in how he can play. And maybe because I remember when we played the Eagles the second time, when Jalen Hurts was still in the game early, we were sending cover 0. We sent the cover 0 at Jalen Hurts on a 3rd down. It was a cover 0. We still had a safety deep, but it was man across the board. We rushed 6. It was 4, guys in man coverage and then a single high safety. And we came after him and they blocked it up just well enough. We got to him, but nobody got a hand on him because they blocked it up just well enough. He escaped out the B gap. And he picked up a nice gain, got out of bounds on a 3rd down and long. So I think Marshawn might give Joe a little bit more confidence to play some man-to-man and be a little bit more aggressive. Because that's at their heart, their identity is man-to-man, aggressive defense. Dan Quinn, Joe Whitt, like when they came from Dallas, that's what they did in Dallas. That's what Joe Whitt did in Green Bay. They played man-to-man, aggressive defense, and was, able to pressure. That's what they really want to do. So, all right, let's get this last shot out the way. Let's get this last shot out of the way. Shout out to my guy, David Brown. This shot's for you, bro. Really appreciate you. Fifth and final shot of the night. This is to a win on Sunday. The first of many in the postseason with Jayden Daniels as the quarterback. If you out there and you believe we're going to win this game, put that 5 emoji in the comment section again for me. Put that 5 emoji. 5 is going to lead us to the promised land. We winning on Sunday. Cheers. Woo! All right. Debt paid. Shout out to my guy, David Brown. Debt paid. Door Gunner, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. This playoff says Duncan definitely drink it with you. Is he cutting up in the comment section? Is he drunken right tonight? Y'all tell me. I don't know. I ain't seen him yet. But y'all would know better than me. Is he drunken right tonight? Door Gunner writes, Lou, in the POW camp at survival school, they played loud, obnoxious music 24/7 to stimulate torture. Your singing is giving me flashbacks, LOL. You and your dog, both. Okay? You and your dog both have an issue with my singing. It makes me want to sing even more. All right? But not simulating torture, though. Yikes. I can't. David Brown, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. David Brown, thank you for being a member of the MOBB, my guy. DB, I really appreciate you. I do. All right. What up, Lou? What's going on, David? Make sure you drink water because Grand is a creeper, LOL. Oh, I know. I got my water right here. Right here. Don't you worry. I'm good. I've been drinking water all day preparing for this. I knew what was coming, and I was ready, right? I've been ready. You ain't got to get ready if you stay ready. I was ready. Appreciate you, though. In more ways than one, I appreciate you. Cole Bernard, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Cole writes, our 28.5 points per game is second all-time behind 1991. So that just tells you, I knew 2016, excuse me. I knew that wasn't, like, we had some outbursts that year, but it wasn't consistent like this year. Like, we didn't score 40 plus, but one time that year, I think it was, I don't even know if it was 40 that year. We scored, we had an outburst against Green Bay. I remember Kirk Cousins outdueled Aaron Rodgers on a Sunday night, right before the Thanksgiving game against Dallas. That was the game that got us to 6-3-1. But we had the game in week 3 against the Raiders, which was was that 2017? Was the week 3 game against the Raiders, because then the week 4 game was against Kansas City, and they were undefeated. We were 2-1. They were undefeated at 3-0, and we had those boys. Boy, we had them. If Josh Doxson could catch, damn it, man. 2016, we had a few outbursts, but they weren't 40-point outbursts like this year. We had multiple 40-point outbursts, 40 burgers. They ain't had that. That's why I was like, they won't mess with us this year. The only team that outscored us, I think we were tied with 91, and 83 was the only season that had more points than 91 in this year. I think we were tied with 91 for second. And 83, which was Theismann's MVP year, was the only other year. I think that was Theismann's MVP year. Mosley was MVP in 82, I think. Theismann was MVP in 83. And we scored the most points in the NFL, and we lost to the Raiders in the Super Bowl. That was the year we set the record for the most points scored in NFL history, and that didn't get broken until the Greatest Show on Turf. Duncan Wright, thank you for being a member for 11 months. Greatly appreciate you, who writes, congrats to you, Lou, and fans on a great season. Even though you had an easy schedule and the rest helped you, and how in the heck does a tackle catch a TD pass? You make him an eligible receiver. So, you know how sometimes you put a tackle in the game as a tight end to block? He's an eligible receiver. You can throw him a pass as well. But thank you for your acknowledgement of our season and your kind words. But let me stop you because you were trying to give me a backhanded compliment. So let me turn that compliment around and make it a full compliment and not a backhanded compliment. We didn't have an easy schedule. We played the same damn schedule you played except for 3 games. You didn't win the NFC East last year, brother. Okay? You played a second place schedule. We played a last place schedule with the 3 different games. And again, that don't mean shit because the 3 teams we played and the 3 teams you played, you might have had a second place schedule and those teams could have ended up being ass. And we had a last place schedule and those teams could have been better. So again, we played basically the same damn schedule. The same damn schedule. Okay? So you call it whatever you like. We played the same teams. And you only finished with 2 more wins than us. That's it. That's it. Finished with 2 more wins than us. Jason Rogers, Uncle Jay. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Uncle Jay, writes, damn, Lou, that spot is 5 hours away from me, LOL. The stadium is 3. One day, though, I'd love to meet up with you and the mob. Hashtag Jersey Strong. Hey, so the goal is to travel. Like, eventually, we go, like, I understand. We got people all over the map, bro. The goal is to travel. Like, I ain't trying to have you have to drive, travel 5 hours. We gonna come to you. Don't you worry. It's gonna happen. But this first one, I wanted to do this in a space that I was comfortable. One, with somebody that I knew. I'm working with somebody on this, and he's been awesome. Shout out to my guy, Twan, man. If you out there, Twan, take a bow, bro. You've been awesome this entire process. Really, truly do appreciate you. None of this is possible without my guy, Twan. He been hitting the streets, like really pounding the pavement and getting shit done and working behind the scenes, dotting every I, crossing every T. And so he been, my right-hand man throughout this whole process. And so I wanted to make this first one somewhere close to me. Close, and I know, again, most of the fan base is probably in the DMV area, probably closer up to DC than they are Richmond, but this is the area he was familiar with. That's why we chose Richmond, because he could work Richmond because he knows the area like the back of his hand, born and raised, been there his whole life. So he knows the city and knows the spots that can, we could potentially have this thing, go off without a hitch at. So that's why we chose Richmond first. But make no mistake about it, there will be more of these, right? But I like the fact that this is going to allow me to work out some of the kinks and get comfortable and, but at the same time, it's going to also allow me to engage with some of the viewers, you know what I mean? And get out here, because this was always a goal of mine. COVID kind of delayed the inevitable. And so here's an opportunity. And I didn't know it was going to come this year in the form of a playoff game, but here we are with a chance to potentially advance in the postseason. And so I know it's not as convenient for everyone, but shout out to those of you who are coming out. If you coming out on Sunday, put a ticket in the comment section. Put a ticket emoji in the comment section. Does a ticket emoji even exist? If it does, put one in the comment section. But he says, I'd love to meet up with you in the mob. # Jersey Strong. And again, my vision for all of this is we gonna travel. And so we gonna come to a city near you where it won't be 5 hours away. That's the goal. Duncan Wright, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy Duncan Wright writes, please win. I want to be the one to end your season. Well, understand that in order for us to meet, it would be the NFC Championship game. So we would have to not only win on Sunday, dispose of the Lions the following week. You'd have to then beat Minnesota, the winner of Minnesota, LA. Then we would be able to play. So a lot has to transpire for us to take, the field for a third time this season. But hey, look, I ain't worried about y'all. I'm worried about us doing our job, trying to find a way to survive till, divisional round, and then we'll figure out who we got to play and how we can find a way to survive that matchup and move on. It's one at a time. So I ain't got time to be worried about y'all. This is the same thing I was talking about to y'all the last time. Don't you got an opponent you playing? Aren't you playing the Green Bay Packers? Why the hell are you worried about us? So you win it. Like, boy, y'all better not lose on Sunday. This is all I know. And I don't expect you to lose, first and foremost. But you better not lose. Because the level of cockiness and the disrespect that y'all are showing to the Green Bay Packers, y'all are almost dismissing them as if they don't exist. Y'all better not catch you better not catch this Cowboys fade. I know that much. Because if you catch the fade on Sunday, you will have hell to pay. Especially if it's coupled with a win. Because I ain't gonna give y'all hell as much if we both catch the fade on Sunday. But if you catch the fade and then we win, oh my God. You can hate me now. No Diddy. But I won't stop now. You can hate me now. You can hate me now. You gonna really hate me, bro. Because the shit is gonna get real dark and ugly and nasty for y'all. I just know that much. But we got a whole nother opponent, bro. Ain't nobody worried about the Eagles. We playing the Bucs. We can't see y'all for 2 more rounds. Ain't nobody thinking about y'all. Why is y'all thinking about us? That's the real question. I don't know one Commanders fan that's bringing up the Eagles this week, but I know a lot of Eagles fans is bringing up the Commanders. Tell me why. Can you explain that to me? Tell me why. Can you explain that to me? Alex Kurz, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, excited for some playoff excellence. Hope the players have fun being badasses. Hope this fan base comes out exuberant. Bart Scott. Oh, you know they are. I like I said, I've talked to a number of fans. It's like, yo, I'm going to that Bucs game. I'm gonna be in attendance. And every time I listen to the players in the locker room, there's this calming feeling that comes over me. Like I think Brian Robinson about to have a game. He been waiting for a playoff game. Again, these Bama dudes, like these are the type of moments they live for, right? Like Deron, the last time Deron was in the playoffs against Tampa Bay, that man had 2 sacks, showed out, he balled in 2020. I'm not saying he's going to do that again, but I wouldn't be shocked if he did. I wouldn't be shocked if he did. Because these Alabama players, this is what they're accustomed to. This is what they were used to. They were used to playing in these type of games. Ohio State players, we got a bunch of them on the roster. They used to playing in these type of games. I wouldn't be shocked if you got some of the best performances we've seen all season from some of our players. Like when Ronald was here, I didn't have confidence in our guys in these type of spots. I didn't think we were well coached. We definitely weren't well prepared because we weren't well coached. And we didn't have talent. So we were always at a stark disadvantage in games that meant something. That ain't the case no more. We're the better coach team. I don't give a shit who we playing, unless it's like Andy Reid and company. But outside of the Chiefs, I'm like, we the better coach team. Shoot me. Shoot me. I don't care if it's Detroit. They got 2 coordinators that's about to get head coaching jobs. I don't give a shit. Yo, positional coaches ain't better than ours. Your coordinators might be. And it ain't by much. Your coordinator in Detroit looking for a job, guess what? Everybody hit mine up too. What you talking about? What you saying? Your defensive coordinator, he got some years on my guy. He been calling plays for about 3 years, so he got a leg up. My dude will get there eventually. I like mine. But when you look at my position coaches, I ain't, look, I'm going to put mine up against anybody's. I ain't telling you we going to win every time, but I got the confidence to put them up against anybody's. I ain't had that before. So I know we going to be prepared. It ain't never a question of, are we ready? It's just a matter, can we go out and execute the way we need to? Ain't no surprises. We ain't surprised. They didn't catch us off guard like, oh, shit. We weren't ready for that. Ain't none of that shit going on. We ready. DQ is practicing every situation you could think of known to mankind. That's why when them shits come up at the end of games, when they tell us, hey, we practiced that on Friday. That's why Jamison Crowder was open in the back of the end zone, because we coached up. I ain't worried. The question is, can we go out and execute? Bart Scott can't wait. Video channel. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, video channel. Writes, excuse me. Lou watching the game and running the live. That's tier 1 type beat. Appreciate the dedication. Look, man, did you really think I was going to choose the Notre Dame game over chopping it up with y'all? Come on now. You know me better than that. You know me better than that. Y'all always come first. I've done Sunday night games with y'all live, watching it as I'm simultaneously live streaming with y'all. Like, you already know what it is. I sacrifice. Now, this is about to come to an end. It's going to be a different sacrifice that's being made. But I sacrifice 4 o'clock games just about every week for y'all. You know, I love watching. You know, I ain't nothing more that I love than other than watching Commanders play, of course. But outside of that, you know, it ain't nothing more than I love than just watching football. I don't watch 4 o'clock games almost every week because I'm live streaming with y'all. So you already know what it is. Y'all come first. I'm going to be sacrificing Sunday Night Football almost every week next year because you know Jayden Daniels going to be in that 425 spot most weeks. Yeah, we'll have 1 o'clock games probably 4 or 5 times next year. But between the 5 or 6 prime timers, and I told you we're going to have a little something on the side, between the 6 games that we're going to be playing in prime time, the 4 to 5 425 games we're going to play next year. And oh, by the way, we play on the West Coast, right? Because we play the AFC West next season. So that's 2 games automatically 425 time slot. Move those aside. Then even when we play, we're going to have some 425s now because it's Jayden Daniels, right? I'm going to be sacrificing Sunday Night Football a lot of weeks now. For y'all. Y'all come first. You know that. Appreciate you for you watching the football game and still watching me live. That's a lot. John Perez, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy JP writes, knowing that we need an elite DN, would you entertain a Max Crosby trade if the price is right? Maybe a Khalil Mack signing or maybe a DN in the draft. I wouldn't sign Khalil Mack. That's not smart business. He's old, and unless you sign him to a 1-year deal, but I think we passed that, right? Like we did the 1-year deal thing this year. You already signed Dorrance to it. Like maybe you would do that, but if the price is right, but you either getting a 3-year free agent and you know signing him up like you did Dorrance and all those dudes, because the key is when it's time to negotiate with Jayden, you need the books clear. Like you think Adam, like let me break something down for y'all. Let me talk to y'all. Let me rap to y'all for a little bit because I need y'all to understand how the economics work. Do you think it was a coincidence that Adam Peters didn't sign not one player to more than a 3-year deal? Anybody that got a deal last year, it was either 1, 2, or 3 years. Nobody got a 4-year deal. Nobody got a 5-year deal, right? Cosme's extension might be the only thing that overlaps with a potential Jayden Daniels extension. Everybody else's deal will be up by the time Jayden Daniels is ready for an extension in his going into his 4th year, that offseason. You think that's a coincidence? Hell no, it ain't a coincidence. That's why Frankie Louvu was signed to a 3-year deal. That's why Dorrance Armstrong was signed to a 3-year deal. That's why Tyler Biadasz was signed to a 3-year deal, because all of those deals will expire when they're ready to sign Jayden Daniels to a long-term deal after his 3rd season, going into year 4. That's not a coincidence. So what they're not going to do is go out and sign a bunch of guys that's going to overlap with Jayden needing an extension. Now, I'm not telling you that they're not going to try to go get T. Higgins, because they are going to try to go get T. Higgins. But they're more interested in getting draft picks, guys that can come in on cheap labor that's not going to interfere or interrupt their financial cash flow, right? They're going to add in some veterans. But they're going to be 2, maybe 3 high-priced veterans, but for the most part, it's going to be a lot of smaller signings, just like it was this year. Like, don't get your hopes up like they're going to go out here and just start splurging and spending like they mind gone bad. Understand what this is. It's all about making sure you're financially set. When Jayden is up and you got to pay him, there's no issues whatsoever. You build your team through the draft. You supplement it through free agency. They're not trading away picks for Max Crosby or any other player. They're not trading for a receiver. They're not trading for Max Crosby. The only guy I think they would entertain trading away picks for is Myles Garrett if he were to come available. And he's not. He's not going anywhere. That's the only guy you entertain. I'm not trading for Max Crosby. I love Max Crosby. He's an impact player. He changes the game. But Max Crosby costs money. Lots and lots of money. When you could look, if you trust in your ability, and trust me, Adam Peters and Lance Newmark believe in their ability to scout talent. If you believe in your ability to scout talent, you can find the next Max Crosby. I'm not telling you that it's easy to do that, but if you trust in your ability, you say, hey, I'll find a guy. Don't worry. So, unless Khalil Mack is signing a 1 or 2 year deal and you want him to be the veteran that comes in here to help you, cool, but like, how many sacks Khalil Mack got this year? I'm going to say he ain't got 8 max. 8 sacks is the max he got this year. I'll be shocked if he got, I think it's more like 7. Watch him have like 11 this year. He ain't got that many. I ain't tripping. He's 33 years old, by the way. He got 6 sacks this season. Like, what are we talking about? Like, we don't need that. You don't need to pay a 33 going on 34-year-old edge rusher who had 6 sacks this season to set a physical edge. We don't need that. You might as well draft a guy if you're going to do that shit. There's plenty of young defensive ends that's coming up in the game that you could probably either go get in the draft or say, hey, I'll take a chance on a young defensive end that has some upside and not have to pay him a boatload of money to do so. So, nah, I don't see them doing that with him. Max Crosby, that's an interesting situation to follow because he, like Myles Garrett said, I'm not trying to be a part of a rebuild. The Raiders are doing a whole bunch of crazy shit, but I think it's in their best interest to just kind of see how this plays out. I don't think, much like Myles Garrett, I don't think Max Crosby is going anywhere either. If the price was right, what's the right price, right? Because we've already given up draft capital to get Marshawn Lattimore. You asking a dude that lives and dies by the draft to give up more draft capital after you already gave up draft capital to get Marshawn Lattimore? I just don't see AP giving up more draft capital. I just don't see it happening. It's the same guy that was willing to move on from a kicker after week 1 so he didn't lose a 7th round pick. Like, he ain't trying to give up no more draft capital. If that makes sense. Thank you for the super chat, JP. Greatly appreciate you, as always. Timbo, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Timbo writes, we have to take advantage of Baker miscues. He going to give us at least 2 chances in this game to pick him off or force him to fumble and recover it. If we about that life, if we bout it, then we got to make it happen. I hope they're ready to take advantage. Because, again, he might only give us 1 chance. And if you don't take advantage of it, you might not get another one. They better be ready when that opportunity comes. Swerve when they hit that corner. Whoa. They better be ready. Red Wing 01. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, hey, Lou. Hope the watch party be bustling. I'll be at the game repping Burgundy and Gold Nation. Let's go get that dub. Hey, look, whether you at the game or you at the watch party or you at the crib, it all remains the same. We want that dub, bro. Nothing changes. We all in it for the same reason. We want that dub. Go to the stadium and go do what you was sent there to do. Extract that dub, bring it home, and let us celebrate and get ready for the next one. Go take care of business. Duncan Wright, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Who writes, Lou, you need to teach your whole chat manners, sir. I'm getting nothing but disrespect when I deserve respect. Trust me, they're treating you just the way that they're supposed to. I have no doubts in my mind that they're treating you accordingly. just the way that you need to be treated. He says, teach your people properly or I will. Really? y'all keep showing him the proper treatment in the comment section. Welcome him with open arms and show him what it's like to be a member of the MOBB. Y'all know what to do. I trust that y'all will take care of him. Hey, you're in great hands with the mob. Better than Allstate. You're in great hands with the mob. Don't you worry, Mr. Wright. Moves Brown. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Moves Brown writes, Eagles got 5 wins over winning teams. Commanders 1. That's cool. Who was the 1 win against? I'll wait. You got something for me? Let me ask you something. Let me look this up. I could be wrong. You know, I've been known to be off every now and again, so you know, shit happens. Let me check something real quick. All right. Who that 1 win come against? I'll be waiting. Tony Brown. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Tony Brown writes, we did it, Louie. No, we do. It's all about Marcus Freeman and those Golden Domers. They played like champions. Go Commanders. You know, I saw something today where they were talking about Marcus Freeman is he's on the NFL radar. I'm like, man, you don't leave Marcus Freeman alone and let him stay right where he at Notre Dame. Hell, you talking about he's on the NFL radar. I love him for this program, man. When he first got the job, I wasn't 100% sold on what he was going to do at Notre Dame. He's recruited top-level talent. He's done a great job in the portal. Yeah, that NIU loss was, that thing was devastating. But as he said over and over again, it served as motivation. And it happened so early in the season. It was the second week of the season. They were able to overcome it. And anytime he felt complacency, all you got to do is bring up NIU. They'll never get complacent again, right? I like him. I like him a lot. And he's exactly what Notre Dame needs. And I don't need him going nowhere. I don't need nobody tempting him to go nowhere. I hope he understands what kind of job he's got at Notre Dame. You know, I don't think he's going nowhere anyway. And you know how big it would be? We've only won 1 national championship outside of Newt Rockne. Okay. It was Lou Holtz. Okay. Lou Holtz won a national championship in like 1988. Okay. Like, what are we talking about? If he wins a national championship, they might build this man a statue. Like, in the first year of this 12-team playoff, if he can pull this thing off, it would be crazy. And I like our chances against Texas more than Ohio State. So if you're a Notre Dame Fighting Irish fan, you're rooting like hell for Texas to upset Ohio State. Because if Ohio State plays us, I don't like our chances in that game because they're just more talented than us. Texas is not more talented than us. Ohio State is, though. So I love it. I'm so glad that they pulled it off. I expected them to win this game, though. I'm not going to front. They were down 10-0. I didn't flinch, right? They didn't flinch, obviously. And they found a way to get it done. I'm going to tell you right now, after the Arizona State-Texas game, this was the second best game of the playoffs thus far. All of them have been blowouts for the most part. But the Georgia game we played against Georgia was a good game, but it wasn't like down to the end. This was literally down to the final, 11 seconds. We kicked the field goal with 11 seconds left. And it was 7 seconds left after he made the field goal. Our field goal kicker been shoddy all year long. I don't trust his ass, but I say this, he's been good in the playoffs, but during the regular season, he was ass. So here we are, national championship. This is where I thought we'd be, looking at the field and looking at how the bracket kind of set up for us. Once Carson Beck got injured, I was like, yeah, no. We going to the national championship. We going to the Natty. Now, who's going to be on the other side of the bracket? That's the question. If it's Texas, we about to win a national championship. If it's Ohio State, I don't know. But I'm going to stay confident either way. JP, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, John Perez. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. JP writes, would you double down on wide receiver, spend on T. Higgins and draft Luther Burden from Mizzou or Emeka Egbuka from OSU? No, I don't see them doubling down on receiver because here's the problem. You got so many pressing needs on this team. And if you sign T. Higgins in free agency, then you don't need to address wide receiver in the draft in the first round. Because first of all, Luther Burden is probably not even going to make it to us, right? But assuming that he does, if he's the best person on your board at that time, sure, take him, right? Who's going to beat you up for adding more weapons to Jayden Daniels' arsenal, right? However, you need a corner. You need offensive line help. You need a running back. You need an edge rusher in the worst way. Like, there's so many things that we need. You can't afford to double up at receiver. Doesn't make any sense. So I would assume if you get T. Higgins, if you get a guy of that ilk in free agency, now wide receiver goes way down the list. I'm not telling you that you can't double up and get another guy in the draft in the fourth, like you did Luke McCaffrey, third, fourth, fifth round. That ain't a first or second round priority, though. I can tell you that much. And I don't think Luther Burden is going to make it to us. Now, Egbuka, he could make it to us. But Burden, I don't think he's going to make it. Big Swerve, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Big Swerve writes, watch party, we in there. Can't wait. Got a feeling about this weekend, feeling a lot of dub energy. Hashtag all hail. Really appreciate you, Big Swerve, man. Can't wait to kick it with you. Have a blast at this watch party with you, bro. It's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. GT7, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. GT7, thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Big Dog Louie, what's going on, GT? He says, what's good, man? What's good with you? BSJ and Forbes were our corners. York was our kicker, and Jedi 5 had training wheels on. LB needs to keep Darryl Green's name out of his mouth. He was straight cold tripping last night. I won't having that shit, though. Like, all right, bro, we just not even going to do this because clearly, like, and he young, like, he not a football fan like most of us. His football fandom started like in the 2000s, for real. Like when Donovan McNabb came along. Like, he don't really know, like, the history. He ain't go back and study and understand what some of these dudes who paved the way for the new generation, what they've done. Like, that whole Darryl Green conversation was disrespectful, and I wasn't gonna stand for that shit. Because you don't have a legend like that at a position, at any position. I mean, before I say something reckless, just think, do the Eagles have a player at any position in the top 5? I can't think of one right off the top of my dome, but I'm not saying that there isn't one. I just can't think of one. I don't think Brian Dawkins is in the top 5 of safeties all time. I'm pretty sure he's not. That might be the only dude. I don't think they have anybody else. They don't have no receivers. They don't have any tight ends. They don't have any running backs. They don't have any quarterbacks. Offensive linemen, I don't think so. You know what? Travis Kelce is probably top 5 all-time centers, I would say. What would you guys say? He's pretty damn good, man, for a long time. He could have kept playing if he wanted to. So I'd say they probably got one, Travis Kelce. One. Chuck Bednarik was really good. I don't think he was top 5 at his position, though. So for him to be disrespectful with Darryl Green, like, bro, we're not even going to go there. Like, you tripping right now. And for Bad Dog to even, like, I get it. You protected LT, that's your guy, and it's levels to this shit. I get it, right? But and Bad Dog being old as dirt, he should have known better and been like, nah, we're not doing that with Darryl Green. But, it is what it is. Louie is going to ball out. I hope so. I'm looking forward to seeing somebody step up and make a play or two in the game on Sunday. You're not wrong about BSJ and Forbes being corners at that time. Forbes had a terrible penalty late in that game, a double whammy penalty, the rare 2-for-1 special. BSJ was getting cooked by Mike Evans. Cade York was one and done, and like you said, Jedi 5, he was a newbie. He still had on Pampers. He was a baby. He's all grown up now. Mommy, wow. I'm a big kid now. Let's see what they do with him now that he's all grown up. GT7, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Who writes, if they can claim Reggie White, then that's another one. Does Reggie White claim them? Don't know. Who did he go in the Hall of Fame as? An Eagle or a Packer? That's the question. He won the Super Bowl with Green Bay. My guess is he played probably the same amount, if not more seasons with Green Bay, because he started his career in Philadelphia, in 1986, maybe? Because he was in the USFL first. And then he went to Philadelphia and he went to free agency in 1992 when free agency first became a thing. And he went to Green Bay because Washington was trying to get him. And God told him to go to Philadelphia. That's what he said. So I think he was with Green Bay until like 99. I think he finished up his career with Carolina in like 2000 or some shit like that. I could be wrong. He could have finished up his career in Carolina in 99. But it was something like that. I think he spent more time in Green Bay than he did Philadelphia. That's my guess. I could be wrong. It could be the same amount of time. He could have spent more time in Philadelphia. But the question I have is, who did he go in the Hall of Fame as? Like, what team did he go in the Hall of Fame as? My guess would be a Packer because he won a Super Bowl there. That would be my guess. But to your point, if he is a Eagle, if they're allowed to claim him, then he's another one that goes in that category for sure. GT7, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. GT7 writes, JD couldn't even keep his helmet on, laughing my ass off. We've come a long way. Yeah, I forgot about that. I remember all the old fans saying, he better learn how to strap his helmet up. He better tighten up his helmet. His helmet came off like 3-4 times, and I don't think his helmet came off since. His shit was coming off left and right in that first game. Matter of fact, in my lead story, I had a picture of him going like this, first down, with his helmet off, because his helmet came off on that play when he ran for a first down, got hit, helmet came off, and people were losing their shit. He's got to learn how to slide. Remember, that's all they wanted to talk about the first 3 weeks of the season. He's got to learn how to slide. He's got to, is anybody going to talk to him about how to put his helmet on? And I'm like, man, y'all shut up. Shit was crazy. You ain't lying, GT7. That's wild. I forgot all about that. Mass hysteria. JD5 about to come in your area. Pause. Going Commando, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member in the MOBB, who writes, man, Lou, just finished the latest Super Friends stream, and you think it was a Commander-centric video the way they all focus on us. They are scared. Listen, when you see it coming from a distance, you try to prepare yourself. They see it coming from a distance. They see it. That's why you think we live rent-free in Eagles fans' heads. Why? Why do you think that is? They see it coming. The Cowboys don't want to be replaced as the second best team in the division. They don't want to be replaced. We ain't trying to be second. We're trying to be first. But they don't want to be replaced as, the team that takes turns with the Eagles winning the division. You go first. Nah, I'm going to go first. You go first. Nah, I'm going to go first. They don't want to be replaced. We a threat to everybody. Now, I already said we got Cowboy problems. We'll talk about that in the offseason, though. But what is apparent is that JD5's talent scares people. Because it ain't nothing like that in the division. And hell, you could argue it ain't nothing like that in the conference. Look around. Ain't no Joe Burrows, ain't no Lamar Jacksons, ain't no Josh Allens on this side of the bracket. It's an opportunity for somebody to take this bitch over, completely over, and run this shit. I'm looking at JD5 and I'm like, yo, you see this? You see all this space and opportunity, bro? This whole conference could be yours. Who else is out here? Jared Goff? The next closest thing is Jordan Love, bro. He ain't got shit on JD5. What are we talking about? The top two teams in this upcoming draft are AFC teams. If Shador and your boy from Miami, Cam Ward, get drafted, they go into the AFC. The Giants will be lucky if they get their hands on one of them two boys. Like, ain't nobody coming. This is it. What? Lucchini falling from the sky. Let's get rich. What? Like, you see what it is. They scared because they understand. Ain't nobody else in this conference as talented as 5. I'd be scared too. I ain't even gonna front on you. I'd be scared as well. Anyway, I digress. That's the last super. It's time to glide to the side. Let y'all get back to whatever it was you were doing before I rudely interrupted. I really appreciate y'all supporting. Big shout out to my guy, David Brown, once again, for holding up his end of the bet. I held up mine now. I've paid my debt. We Eve on, Steve on. Look forward to chopping it up with you and kicking it with you on the trip to the DR. For those of you out there that also want to attend, hey, it's never too late to do the right thing. Link is in the description. Go ahead and click that and pay your registration fee and get on board, right? But before we even get to that, we had a watch party. We talking playoff football. Playoffs? Yeah, we talking playoff football. We in Richmond, live and in color. City's Bar and Grill. 6 p is when the doors open. From 6 p to 2 in the morning. We're going to be having us a ball. I want you to be a part of it. Link is in the description. Link will be pinned to the comment section of this video. Mods have done a great job of putting it in the chat. You one click away. Be a part of the fun. Want to see y'all on Sunday night. Anyway, I digress. We got a lot more to discuss tomorrow. We'll get into our keys to victory, predictions for the game. This one's going to be a tough one, man. That's a damn good offense we going up against. And our defense, but we got Marshawn Lattimore. That changes a lot. That changes a lot. But we'll discuss that tomorrow. In any event, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T. Until next time, I'm your man Louie T. signing off. You guys have a good one. Take care. God bless. And good night.
Here comes the diesel. Here comes the diesel. There's the snap, hand to Riggins. Good hole. He's got the first down to the 40. He's gone. The 35, the 30, the 20. He's gone. He's gone. Touchdown.